What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ask an Installer here on New Type Sith. Today we have some extremely special guests today. Obviously, I have my co-host Matt from Babu Sabers. We're going to go around the room, just introduce everybody. Obviously, if you're here, you want to know who this guy is. I am Cody, New Type Sith, your typical YouTube lightsaber reviewer with a little bit, more anime and other cool things like that. And I'm going to bring it over to Matt.
Babu Sabers and more. I do installs. I feel like I've talked enough, so I'm going to bring it over to Vaults of Valhalla and let him go.
My name is actually Carl. I specialize in etching and customization of lightsabers. And Sean?
Yeah, I'm Sean. I'm from SP Sabers, Frozen Collectibles in Australia. I specialise in hill design and production, bit of weathering work, and I do the odd install when I've got time.
Nice. Well, I do have to say thank you both for being here, because obviously on your time zones compared to ours, especially SP, it is, what did you say? It was like 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, coming on to 5.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Seriously.
For this, I could only imagine. And same with Carl as well.
Sleeping.
This isn't bad for me. That's no way. 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh man. But thank you. We got some people in the house. We got Cole Weathers. Thank you for coming in. Absolute Sam, dude's a legend. And smile, Carl. But all right, so today's episode, we're going to be going over a few things. We're going to be covering some things on etching, because we've really never gone over that before. And, what like upcoming installs, what people are excited for, and stuff like that. So, Matt, if you got some questions, you can go ahead and start that off.
Yeah, so I'll generate it for everybody in the room. I'm not going to answer it because I've answered it 1,000 times over, but we'll just start with what got you into Star Wars, and then how that led to getting you into lightsabers specifically, because it is such a specific community, I guess. So Vaults of Valhalla or SP or Cody, whoever wants to go, you go for it.
I'll start off then. What got me into Star Wars? I'm not even sure anymore what got me into it. I've got a few childhood memories. The first of which was leaving my bedroom. I would have been maybe 8 at the time, and my mother and her friend were watching Attack of the Clones on the TV, and it just come out on DVD, and I was told to go back to my room. This is an adult movie. So naturally, after that, I had to see what it was. And then the second one I can remember is occasionally see Australian TV sort of sucks, but I can remember Return of the Jedi. The scene where Vader's come to collect Luke off the Endor moon, and I can vividly remember watching that and going, yes, I love this. And since then, Star Wars. I had a plastic Count Dooku lightsaber, one of the ones with the extendable blades. And then I many years later I bought a Hasbro removable blade Anakin Force Effects lightsaber. And then went from there, discovered the saber community, and haven't really stopped. Been more active in the last 2 years, but been in and out and around for a couple of years before that as well.
Dude, that Anakin, I remember that Anakin Force Effects. That one's rare now with the removable blade. That's almost impossible to find now.
Yeah, I've still got it. I won't show you. I ripped it apart and drilled holes in it back before modding was something that I did properly. I sort of just hacked it. So now it's dead. But I still got it.
Hey, you still got it. At least you have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl, if you want to go ahead, man.
Kind of the same as Sean, really. Childhood memory. My dad introduced me to it. My dad's like the least geeky person you could know. He was a nuclear engineer on a bloody submarine and God knows, but he loves Star Wars. He's always loved Star Wars.
Wow, that's really
yeah, he got me into it, and I've loved it ever since. But specifically sabers, I bought my first in 2006, which was the Mace Windu Hasbro FX, and I've still got it. It's downstairs, but the gold gilting is sort of like peeled off, and the aluminium's looking terrible. It's lasted, it still works, but it doesn't look that great. And I was never that impressed with it, so I never got another one. And then last year in February. And when I heard that Galaxy's Edge had released a new range of hilts, and I thought, I wonder if the tech's any better now. So I bought the Obi-Wan, the Episode 1 hilt, which is incidentally my favorite lightsaber hilt out of the Canon series. It's my favorite. And when it came, it was better. Like, they'd upgraded the LEDs and the form factor was a bit thinner. And I thought, yes, it's great. And I started looking into it online. And then all of a sudden I was confronted by this massive hobby that I didn't know existed, with all these custom lightsabers that weren't from Disney and looked a lot better. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I bought a couple of flagships. And then I saw that etching was being done. And I thought, I could do that. I reckon I could do that. So me being me, I went full bore into it, bought all the crap to do it, and like hundreds of pounds later, I'm like, my God, this costs a fortune. But then I etched my first two, and I've loved it ever since. I've been doing it ever since. So.
Yeah, I told myself I could etch as well. I can't do everything, apparently.
But Cody, what got you into it, man?
Well, the typical. Instead of dad, it was my grandpa. He took me to see Phantom Menace in theaters. Pretty much, it was like opening week, and that was it. Like, I watched the older Star Wars before with them, like, throughout. But I liked it. But me being a kid, it was older, and like, yeah, the lightsaber scenes are cool. But I was into like other stuff, like cartoon related. But then as soon as I seen Phantom Menace, honestly, Darth Maul hit me first. I was like, it's the coolest looking guy ever, and went across the street to Party City, got myself a lightsaber, and that was the end of it. So I haven't been active as far as like lightsabers or anything like that until the past like 6 months. Actually, it sounds really bad, but like obviously I rewatched the Star Wars like during quarantine, and then I was already watching Mando as it came out. Mandalorian season 2 came out, and like I kept getting ads on Facebook for like these terrible, I mean, they look cool, but like I looked them up, it was like Force FX sabers. Like I don't mind them, obviously, for a beginner. I was like, yeah, these are cool, but like I want to do more. And then I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube, and yeah, didn't realize they were where they are today, and I've been trying to learn as much as I can the past half year, if not more, on these. I've gained quite the collection and admiration for the builders and installers and people that do the etching and everything like that, just because, in all honesty, I never thought this hobby existed, just like a lot of people didn't. And I mean, it's insane. I come from a car background, so like obviously most people that do know me personally, that's what I mainly do. I'm not only a mechanic, but I do racing, so modifying cars is my thing. So when I found out I could do more than just modifying cars, I can start playing with lightsabers and do cool stuff like that. That's what really got me hooked, and I have to say it's been great. Everything from sound fonts all the way through full custom installs, builds, whatever it is. I mean, it's just crazy what you can do with them. So that's why I'm here. That's why I like it, because it's rad.
Yeah, I will say, like, the community, it's shocking when you first find it too, with how big it actually is. Because you join one group and you think, all right, there's only probably like a couple groups like this out there, and then you start looking into it and there's like 50 plus or something crazy. Like, it's nuts. It's huge. But so I want to ask you guys, what hilts are you looking forward to or working on? Because obviously the two that we have work on lightsabers, but which ones are you looking forward to like the most, that either you're working on or that you're going to collect yourself? So
I am just pregnant. Very much looking forward to that when it leaves Brisbane.
Yes.
What about you, Sean?
Well, I'm looking forward to Cal and Dennis's scavenger hilt, much like Adam. I was privy to a few sneaky photos of the model a long time ago, so I've been waiting a lot longer than some people. It's really keen for that one. What else? That's the main one. I like the look of Cal's new flagship as well that he's done. Whatever you may call that one. I haven't.
He's got a V2 coming out, right?
Yep.
He does, yeah. With
Yeah.
the big long shrouds.
We'll see what this guy does with it.
Yeah, well, that's it. And yeah, no, so the Kylo V3 is probably the one from mine, from me anyway, the most anticipated one. And then it would be, pretty keen to do the Obi-Wan Episode 3 Hero.
Okay,
that's a personal favorite of mine.
I got to tell you, that's my wife, again, she loves all your lightsabers, but that one specifically, as soon as she saw you post it, she was like, finally, one that's going to have a solid neck in it that we can actually swing around. Because that's been our issue with all the ones that we've had so far, is it's just a showpiece. You can't really do anything with it.
And that's it. That's something I try to include in all the sabers I design. I want them to be solid, so you can swing them around, because that's half the fun. If you get a break on the first hit, it might as well be made of plastic or resin.
Sure.
Yeah. If it's you're gonna go to the trouble of making them, completely from metal, then yeah, I want it to be durable, which has sort of been the basis for the ones I've done so far anyway.
Right. Well, yeah, I remember you saying like that's the main thing with the Kylo was like you wanted it very sturdy.
Sturdy, but also try and keep it as accurate as I could.
Right.
It's hard to do that as well. It's got such detailed little parts in it. The engines are, full of tiny little details, which replicating with CNC machining, while possible, it could be, incredibly expensive. Once you start getting down to like trying to machine a 0.25 of a millimeter slot. So either expensive or just not possible. The props weren't CNC machined, so being able to replicate that with CNC machining is it can be difficult. So I've had to come up with a few different ways of doing things to be able to get in as much detail as I could, and I'd like to say it's pretty comparable to anything else.
Right.
Anything that's out there that's screen accurate or close to. While also being able to flog the hell out of it. Right.
But what about you, Cody? What are you looking forward to?
Well, mine's just, it's not anything that's new coming out. As far as just continuing my collection, I'm trying to, do a Rebels collection, I've decided. And I really want a Kanan hilt. That's like my first hilt I want to get from him. So that is definitely, that's the goal for right now. And then going on from there, we'll see what happens.
Where it takes you.
Yep.
Kanan Ezra 2-pack.
Oh. Yes. By the way, I want to thank, there's a lot of really amazing people here in the chat. We have Jake, Gin and Tonic, Cole Weathers, Absolute Sabers, Jeremy from Solo Sabers. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody. Really appreciate you guys all hanging out during this afternoon, or some of you really late at night. For everybody being here, thank you. What else can we go over?
I got one real quick.
Yeah.
So I guess would be a good question is, how do you guys come up with, Sean, I'll word it differently for you, but for Carl, how do you come up with your designs that you put out? Because, that's a big project to take on when someone says, here's my hilt, do whatever to it. And then for Sean, how do you find accuracy? What sources do you look into? I heard Veracity last time they talked about photometry. I don't know if that's something that you also do as well. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so for Carl, how do you come up with that? Is it based on the client? Do they express what they want, or do you just get to go wild?
It depends. Every client's different. So sometimes the client may turn around to me and say, here's your theme, do what the hell you like. I always show the design to make sure I get approval before I go any further. But sometimes the client, wants a bit more say in their saber, and that's fine. I'm quite happy to redesign elements if it comes up like that. But most of the time, people ask me to do things that I already have an interest in. So I'm a massive geek, essentially. My house is essentially just a museum. It's full of cabinets and bookshelves and God knows what else. And it's very rare someone turns around and says, "Oh, I want you to do a theme like this," and I'll go, "What the hell is that? I've never even heard of that before."
Right.
I think that's happened twice in the year and a bit that I've been doing this, and I've done over 60 sabers now, so it's quite rare. But when that happens, I go and research it. So I had one that was a series of books that I'd never heard of, and I thought, right, okay, well, since I like making the sabers means something, I need to go and find out what that series of books is actually about.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So I spent a couple of days doing that, reading through the synopses, the Wikipedia pages and stuff. I'm not going to go and read all 6 novels because I don't have time for that, but it gives me a good indication. And then by the time I finished the design, the client was like, "That's," he was so happy, he sent me the books. I now have the books downstairs.
Cool.
So,
That's so cool.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Being able to do that and make people, make your clients happy like that, that's top notch, best feeling in the world.
Easily that is. Yep.
I have to agree. There's nothing better than seeing someone, post up the saber you've just sent them and saying how much they love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, very much.
Same. That's me. I'm freaking
It'll be
out.
happen. Yeah.
Mine's freaking out on your guys' work. As far as me, when I finally got my full first install, I lost it. I didn't think something like that would make me so excited, and I can only imagine as far as etching goes, that's one of my goals is eventually to get something Gundam themed or something like that. So if you don't mind me asking, what's the craziest etch you've done, as far as is there has anything been almost too almost like a Game of Thrones or something that was really 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 crazy that just you were just all right, this is gonna the one really that got you?
What, in terms of surprise?
Do you really want that on a saber? Just you weren't expecting difficulty as far as what was what was the hardest to do, I guess.
I mean, so far the most difficult sabers I've done have usually been my project sabers, because they're mine. I can experiment. Okay. I can go, I'm going to try this, and this. And probably the most complicated one I've done so far was the Elves Lament, which was the super deep brass etch with the silver leafing and and God knows what else. And that took a lot of work, a lot of masking, a lot of resist work, a lot of hand painting to reinforce everything. It's probably in well over 100 hours of work, that one, because it was on my desk for 2 weeks before it went near the acid. It was a lot of work.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to put into one.
It is.
It is. But with all my sabers, when I'm doing them, I don't just put the resist on, fill a couple of holes, and chuck it in the acid. My sabers stay on my desk, being painted, being resisted, making sure everything's going to hold as much as possible, because acid is very inconsistent. It's not ever 100%. I can probably get 99. I've had 200% sabers where everything has gone to plan, not one single flaw has appeared, and honestly, that's the pinnacle of this art because it's so hard to do. You just don't know when you put it in the acid. That's it. You can't see it. It's in the acid. You don't know what's happening in there. Then you can pull it back out to rinse it, and if you haven't caught it in time, there's a flaw there, and it wasn't meant to be there. So it is quite difficult, and that's part and parcel of being handcrafted, I suppose. But I make sure I give every chance for that not to happen on my sabers.
That must be very stressful.
When you're dealing with other people's property, it is absolutely very stressful.
But I mean,
when I did the ID7 staff for a client, end of my first business year, that those sabers are rare enough already. They cost a fortune. There's only 50 or so in the world. I had 2 of them to etch, and I was like, I need to make sure this goes exactly to plan, because if anything goes wrong, I'm a dead man. So it's very, very stressful.
That's awesome though. The work, obviously, me being newer, and I've only just caught on to seeing a lot of others work, but absolutely blows my mind every time I see one of your
Yeah,
etches. I'm just
it's
like,
not
how is
just
this
the
even
etching, though.
possible?
It's not just the etching either, though. It's all the added little bits that you do. So when you do like pearl inlays and the wood inlays and like that stuff blows me away every single
Yeah.
time. I look at that because it just takes it to that next level. Because yeah, you can etch it and throw a leather wrap on it. That's great, and it looks great.
That's exactly it. I love making my sabers look a bit more special. But I'm
Right.
not going to say any names. But I had one of my peers turn around to me. I think it was about a month or so ago, and he said, "In my house, we call it the Carl touch." And I was absolutely flattered. This is someone else who's in the same sort of business, and he sat there in his house going, "I need to do the Carl touch." And I was like, "That's amazing. That you couldn't get more flattery, to be honest."
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Absolute Sabers. I'm in Plymouth, Chief.
But then, since we got the question for Sean, I forgot what the question was. Accuracy. How do you find accuracy?
Okay, so yeah, it varies a lot, depending on what I'm doing. I used to look at master replicas like LE hilts and go, yes, that is the most accurate, but you're finding more and more that they're not. The material given to them by Lucasfilm back in the late 90s, early 2000s was generally not the same as the screen use. It was more accurate to the promotional props, especially with like this skinny flex and stuff like that. Based on a promotion prop. So a lot of it is using photos and movie stills, scaling those, and then drawing it off there. Using something Adam taught me, using an anchor point, something that is a real world part on that saber.
Yep.
Gives you a base to draw off. So yeah, with the Kylo, for example, Derek had a prop shop, so I've got about 1 million photos of that all the way around, inside, outside.
See, and that's it's funny. I've talked to Adam a little bit, and we almost talk every day now, but he started showing me that too, was the anchor point. And I won't say on what, because I'm at 2 years down the line stages, but he was showing me that, and dude, it's wild. Like how you have to design a hilt is not how you would design like a chassis per se. Like it's completely different. I thought I was going to be able to at least get my feet wet a little bit, and it's over my head right now. But so what you guys do it's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest thing. Anyone can jump on a CAD program and draw a hilt, but having it come together, be functional, and then be able to be installed is a whole nother thing. There's some nice looking hilts out there that when you try to install them, it just it's hard. It's hard to make it work and fit. So having had some install experience definitely helps for when you've got to design the hilt itself. You can keep stuff like that in mind. I liaised a little bit with Jeremy as well on the V3, and he did up a chassis for me for that too. That's before we confirmed the production, just in case. But with something like the V3, any chassis would work for that one. Really, it's it's a whole. The wires come out of it. But something like the Empress Regnant, it's a little bit more difficult because it's got a thin body. The speaker couldn't go down the bottom; it had to be mounted in the middle. The board has to be installed and then pushed back up into the hilt where you can barely access it, and the switches are that far up inside the hilt. So it's just a good it's something you got to keep in mind for that. But yeah, as for accuracy, mainly stills, screenshots, and any people I know who might have had some actual access to props, who can give me some pointers. A lot of them won't show you anything, but they can say yes, no.
Oh, okay, so they'll confirm or deny. Okay.
Yeah, some will go further than others. I've got a friend at the moment who works in ILM, and he's actually making me a YouTube intro video in the style of like new Disney intro with the helmets, how the saber jewels going on behind the chrome helmets. but with my lightsaber models instead. So the lightsaber.
Cool.
And he's actually working on a few of the upcoming Disney Star Wars projects, and he won't tell me anything at all, which I understand.
I mean, he'll get shot as soon as he walks out the door if he tells you anything. So,
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's still awesome.
Yeah,
just finding people. I've had conversations with voice actors from Clone Wars. I've just stumbled across these people and then end up having long chats with them. Prop makers, actors. You just come to sort of meet some of these people over time, and some of those people will give you pointers. So it's good. But yeah, mainly photos, stills, and then a lot of going back and forth, making changes until I get something I'm happy with.
Makes sense.
Now, with all that, I have to ask, how difficult was the Empress for you to do with it only having such a short amount of screen time? Was that pretty difficult for you?
It became a lot easier when they had the Making of the Rise of Skywalker documentary come out.
Okay.
If you haven't watched that, it's an interview where they pull out the bowcaster, they pull out the dark grey hilt, they pull out layers.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I haven't seen it, so yeah.
So yeah, there's some very good photos in there. I did look at the EFX license prop, but it's nothing like the movie prop at all.
Okay.
And it's $1,599 for a static, which they still haven't delivered or mentioned. But yeah, no, that video is really good. It's got a whole heap of stuff that you wouldn't see otherwise.
That's crazy though. That
before then, I was basing it off one screenshot, which was fairly square.
Okay.
And it had the Graflex next to it, so I could
really compare it size wise.
Okay.
Reference, and then I also have the Hera SFU, so the side folding unit, the hinge for the M14 rifle, which they use for the hinge. I bought one of them and had it repackaged in the US and then sent to Australia because gun parts in Australia is a bit of a no-go. Yeah, I was thinking it wouldn't even get here, so I had Justin at Saber Bay repackage it for me, take anything gun related in the packaging, took it all away, sent it over to me, just to make sure I get it.
So double shipping just to get that one part.
Ridiculous.
I was free shipping within US, so it's not too bad. But anything to Australia, shipping hurts.
Oh yeah.
That's why our community is not half of what it is anywhere else.
No, not yet, Cole. I'm talking to someone on Reddit trying to get it.
That is one of my dream.
Yeah, Cole sent me a video of his Empress. I really need to install mine. Well, Adam's in.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of that hilt. Honestly, I think it looks sick.
Dude, it's sweet that it just.
Dude, it's just all of it.
The clicky when it clicks in for some reason.
So
it took a lot to get that hinge to function exactly as it should. It was a bit painful. A couple of prototypes in, and some of them just didn't lock together very well. And then finally we got the last one, which has got it's got 4 springs, 2 ball bearings. So if you take the hinge, it actually locks at 180 degrees as well. If you take the hilts off the end, it'll actually spring and hold.
Oh wow!
Open,
really?
Yeah. We got the ball bearing lock in it.
That's sick. Oh,
yeah.
So I'm gonna throw a curveball and go away from lightsabers for a little bit until Sean shows us whatever he's working on. What's your favorite? I know, Carl, this question's going to be tough for you because you like a lot of stuff. What is your favorite fandom outside of Star Wars?
Oh, that's easy, to be honest. Warhammer 40K.
Really? That's sick.
Any day of the week, Warhammer.
Is that where you got into your painting from?
It is actually. I gave it up years ago,
sick.
but that's exactly where my painting came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But all my bookcases, like you can't see it, but next to here is just full of books. It's all books. It's all
that's
Warhammer,
awesome.
It's nuts.
I have a lot of friends that played Warhammer for a long time.
I mean, I've never actually played it, to be honest.
Oh, wow. You just like doing the paintings and
I just
stuff?
loved the lore so much that I wanted to paint the characters.
Yeah,
from
that's
them,
really cool.
So that's what I did, yeah.
But
no, I did enjoy it. It was good fun.
It's a similar case with me and this.
Dude, yes. Oh, my God, yes. I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh nerd. So is Jesse. If Jesse from Kyberphonics was in here, he'd be losing it right now. He'd be losing it.
I've got my 5 PSA 10 SDK Blue Eyes, and it's but I don't play the game.
I haven't played since I was literally almost 20 years ago. But as far as collection, I still have a few decks left with some original Blue Eyes and stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I just like the cards. Every now and then, we've only got one sort of comic shop in my local town. Shout out to Millennium. And I'll go in there sometimes just for a chat because I know the owner, and I'll leave with a few Yu-Gi-Oh booster packs or something like that. Just for the fun of it.
Okay.
And it gives me a bit of a rush. It's
no, that's awesome. Now, obviously, to go into that, besides fandom, are you any of you guys into any other hobbies like sports, cars, any cool stuff like that?
I was a cyclist for 17 years. I used to love doing downhilling and stuff. Yeah. Unfortunately, after my third run-in with a car, I gave it up because
God,
I'm not a cat.
On the third one, not the second.
Yeah, on the third one. The first two, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, got on with it. But the third one, I was like, do you know what? I don't have 9 lives, and I'm going to die in a minute. So I gave it up.
Yeah, that's too funny.
No,
it wasn't for me.
For us, it's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I was really into this, cars was my thing as well. So I had a built Mitsubishi Ralliart, which was about 600 all-wheel horsepower. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I built that in the garage. Become too expensive. I've got a family now, so I sort of gave that up and saved money by starting this.
Yeah, save money.
And I'm broker than ever.
Yeah, I'm struggling with because when I started getting into lightsabers, it was during winter, and where I live in the state I'm in, it's Minnesota. It's the coldest state in the United States. So it's for 7 months we're frozen. It's a tundra. So my car, sits in the garage besides just getting it ready for the next season. So all winter I was fine with this. As soon as season started, I was like, man, I haven't bought a saber in a while. I was like, oh, I know why, because I have to pay for everything else I'm doing, and it's difficult, but that's awesome.
Yeah. You'll find, I found that when you first get into the hobby, you go, $200, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$300, that's ridiculous. Oh, $1,000, yeah, right. $1,000. Your bar just gets higher and higher and higher.
Yep.
And what you're willing to pay for things as you go up in sort of quality and tiers and stuff. You get to the point in the end where it's just you sort of hit that plateau where it's like, okay, this is sort of where it's at. This is what this is going to cost me from now on.
Okay.
You kind of just accept it.
Yeah. And I've just learned to not worry about the price if I can afford it. If I want it, I just sort of buy it. That's what sort of costs you. That's my lightsabers there. I've been working on this display for about 6 months, and I bought a big laser cutter to cut myself stands, and so far I haven't cut myself a single stand. Stuff for other people.
Aren't laser cutters that can do that ridiculously expensive?
Yeah.
It was about $4,000 US.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it did pay for itself. I did a few local jobs. I've got a friend in town here. She makes furries, and it takes a very long time to cut out all the pieces. So we threw the material in the laser. I drew it up on Corel and then smashed it, And it just done, and we did like 8 big containers. So just doing little jobs like that, help pay for the laser fairly quickly. I like buying infrastructure that can make something back on. It makes me feel a little bit better about the initial expense. Whereas I bought some things that I've used 3 times and haven't got back to them, and I'm like, why did I buy that?
But isn't that, I feel like that's how you even get started, like with the business in the lightsaber community though, right? Is like you start off with, I'm just going to do it for myself and that's it. And then you get to the point where you're like, well, maybe I could offer one so that I can pay for another one. And then
that's literally how my business started.
It just starts going like that. And you're like, well, screw it.
And even now it's the same. Doing saber runs, you then trade with other people doing saber runs who want yours.
Yeah, there you go.
So like, I did the same with the Empress. I had one that I did a trade for. Everyone wins, I guess.
Trades are good.
Because while I might have 100 Empresses sitting here, I may not have like pocket money to go buying other things. So they're almost like a commodity in themselves. So that's something I enjoy doing a trade here and there.
And etching's a tradable skill as well. My Phoenix props Jedi Killer, I got that for work for Derek. So
yeah, I do the same for installs. I do my own installs, but see, I struggle for time. I was taking commissions only for Australian customers. International is a bit of a play around for the shipping costs and stuff like that. By the time it gets to me, there are people locally to wherever everyone is who can get it done faster, cheaper, and in the case of like USA and UK, probably better installers. So I was servicing Australia just because we don't really have anyone. And I actually found out only this last week that there's an installer who's been around for 15 years, who's a huge name on the forums. He lives 5 minutes from me in Australia, in the middle of nowhere. So that was something really cool to find out because I had no idea.
Yeah, that's wild.
Is the Star Wars community pretty big in Australia?
It's decent. Where I am, it's not huge, but it's pretty good quality sort of little community. I'm part of a group of cosplayers called the Alliance of Regional Costumers. So we do have standards for your costumes. It's not like a 501st sort of system. It just means you can't go to your local Walmart or Kmart as it is here, pick up a $30 costume and be part of the group. It's got to have some sort of effort. It's not restricted to Star Wars either. We do Marvel, DC, medieval.
That's cool.
Yeah, Ainsley in our group does a really good one. So it's sort of all inclusive. We do a bit of everything. I've passed this on to a couple of other people who've asked me through Instagram how the group's run, and basically we take the new prospective members out for a dinner or a drink and just sort of see what sort of person they are. Because
I'd like to join because I'm really hungry.
Yeah, hungry. That doesn't qualify you. But yeah, it's just to basically just to check on people's character, because we all end up really good friends. We go to each other's houses for a barbecue or movie or stuff like that. So we sort of vet everyone that comes in, because we're all friends, and you sort of want good friends.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Especially having good friends that can geek out about the same stuff. Like that's
right. Yeah, we do all the movie premieres for the local cinema. They usually give us an email or a call and say, "Do you want to come and promo for us?" And we just go and take photos with people, and it's good.
That's sick. That's super cool. I actually just started the MCU last week because I've been You can ask Matt. I
Just
was
started?
like, dude, I
That's
told
like,
you that.
what are you,
'cause
like
I
12
wasn't
years behind?
Yeah,
Like,
what are
like I
you-
seen the old
what are you
Iron Mans
doing,
when they
man?
came out, but I was like, because I don't know, dude. When I was like, well, not was, I still am. So when you're like a big anime weeb, right? Sometimes like the MCU stuff is just like
Yeah,
it's
I'm
just not
not.
your thing, and it wasn't. So like it took me a lot to actually just give these a try, and I like them. Like we just finished the Dark World, like Thor Dark World, yesterday. So like I'm going in chronological order. So like going from Captain America 1 till now, like dude,
Okay, so not the order that they came out.
no, the second one.
Okay.
So I'm like stoked like already. So everybody's like, dude, you don't even know. like just wait. But yeah, like I don't know. It's cool. So I would love to go
How
to,
have
like, a
you
premiere.
avoided spoilers?
Dude, I have like I know things about like Endgame because obviously I couldn't avoid that. So that kind of ruined for me. But as far as all the other shows, movies, like I pretty much just haven't showed, any attention to it.
Yeah,
See, that's wild to me because, like, I always get looks for this, but I was into everything else geeky before Star Wars. So, like, huge comic book nerd. So when those movies started coming out, I was all over it. Like midnight premiere every single time. Like, could not miss it. But then, like Star Wars, it was like, oh, I'll see it the next day. So it was like it was the opposite. I know it's so strange to say that, but
Yeah,
that's
no, for
crazy.
me, I would go to all the Star Wars premieres, like ever since, I went to Phantom Menace. That was like my thing after that. But then for me, like I've never really been like a big comic book guy. Like I like Spider-Man and I enjoyed like I know it's not Marvel, but like I enjoyed like the Christian Bale or whatever
Dark
by
Knight.
Batman's. Those were sick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so I seen those like opening night, but as far as like the MCU as like timelines, universe, backstories, like I seen the Iron Mans when they came out all those years ago, and like it just never really stuck with me. So like I actually enjoy it, like because I'm watching it with two friends of mine too. So like they're hyped watching my reactions on it because they're like, man, like I could only imagine if this is my first time watching this movie, and like they're even surprised. And I might get flagged for this, but like I enjoyed like Captain Marvel. Everybody says it's a terrible movie, but because I've never seen the movies, I just paid attention to it being a movie itself, not like storyline. So they're like, "Did you hate it?" I was like, "No, not at all. Actually, the aliens are sick." And they're like, that's nice. Like that was a nice take on that. And I was like, "Yeah, it's because I don't have any, opinions on anything." So yeah, I don't know. I enjoy that I'm watching it for the first time now. I mean, late to the party, but it's kind of sick because I have a lot of stuff to look forward to. Because once I get to these, I can watch like the new series that just came out, and
Then you
I have
can
a
finally
long-
jump on Invincible. Like
yeah,
I've been telling you about
I have
1,000 times
long
over.
haul. Long haul.
yeah. See, I'm probably an odd one out there. See, Marvel doesn't really do anything for me at all. I like individual movies, but when it comes to the Avenger movies where everyone's in, yeah, they don't. That doesn't really float my boat.
Okay.
I'm actually a big fan of the Green Lantern movie that everyone hates.
Really?
Oh, I actually
Yeah.
love that movie.
See, I just have a hard time with it because I read the Jeff Johns run and got really into that with the War of Green Lanterns, and where they give the Green Lanterns a green light to kill, and like
Thank
now
you,
the Green
Sam.
Lanterns kill
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I sort of take movies as they are, for an individualized thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
You took it for what it was.
Yeah, I've never really been into like comic books. I've gotten into the Star Wars ones now, but see, I don't know the whole Marvel lore or the DC lore.
Yep, same.
So like I've got friends who are just hardcore into it. We go to Avengers and they know what's going on. I'm just sort of just watching the movie. So as movies themselves, I enjoy them, but as a fandom that I'm into, yeah, not as much. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, on the other hand, yeah, give me that every day.
See, I think you benefit from not reading the comics though, because you get to see the story for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where when you have that source to pull from, like I always leave disappointed. Like, yeah, it's good, but it's like I know what they could have done, and
that
what.
that was every Harry Potter movie for me.
Yep.
Because
Oh yeah.
I had read the books through so many times and things were happening. I'm like, that's not in the book. And then things didn't happen, which really should have. It sort of killed it for me. It's just why I don't really read anything. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, man, we're a little bit nutty about Harry Potter in our household, but
I've
so you're
thought
speaking the truth there for sure.
I thought about getting into some Harry Potter stuff as well.
Dude,
See, we only have it just because we went to the park, and this is before we knew that like the prop community was even a thing. And so, like, it's funny. I had at the time she was my girlfriend, but my wife now. She saw the Bellatrix mask, and I go, "Why don't you try it on and go look at it in the mirror over there?" And so she goes, "All right, I'll go do that." And I pull the guy over to the side. I'm like, "Oh, how much is it? How do I pay for it? Let's pay for it right now." So we get it paid for. She goes, "It's so cool, but it's too expensive." And back then, too expensive was $150. So, now completely different. But so we get it, and right after, like, she's crying and like it's all cool and everything. But now how we see how all that stuff is, like, I'm sure there's a better mask out there. It's crazy, but we can go down that rabbit hole.
Mike's having a fun time.
Yeah, someone's mic is.
Oh.
Let's see if it's mine.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's mine.
Oh.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh.
All right, Cody, you got to take over. Let me fix my mic.
Yeah, you're good, man. Okay, so we can get on the next one. What was your guys' first like custom install? Like, what was like your first custom lightsaber that wasn't like something that was Force FX? And was it something you installed yourself? Did you buy it? And like, I don't know, do you still enjoy it now, or do you still have it?
Mine was one of my own. It was a flagship.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I etched it first. It was the first etch I did. It was a brass flagship with a temple guard theme with Viking
nice.
runes. I still have it. It's still downstairs in my display cabinet, along with its twin, which was an aluminium version. And then it was also my first ever install. And I spent an entire Saturday, about 12 hours, doing this install with a Verso board. Cal had just brought them out when I managed to get around.
So when
to
it was
this.
like one font, one single font.
Yeah, there was one font, yeah. And when I pushed the button and it all lit up, like, best feeling in the world.
Oh,
it was amazing. Imagine. It's absolutely incredible. I don't install a lot of hilts because that's not my forte. Like, my cram foo is lacking. Mm-hmm. But honestly, when you get everything installed and it all turns on and it makes the noises, and you're like, I did that. It's amazing. Like,
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, that is, and they're both, because they're twin Temple Guardian ones.
Well, no, the other one is it's technically based on Revan. It's got Revan's mask and it's a Sith emblem. Cool. But they both have the Viking runes around them.
That's so cool.
And I called them Dagar Oke Nacht, which is ancient Norse. It means day and night.
That's sick.
Oh, sweet.
Dude, that's so cool, and you make it sound so much cooler.
But that's what I think part of my job is. Part of my job is to, so people don't come and ask me for a theme. They go, "Oh, that's a cool theme. We'll have that." They ask me for a theme because they love it.
Yeah,
that's their passion. They love it. So if you make the sabers mean something, if you give them a background, a story, or whatever else, it means more to them. They're more unlikely to sell them. They're more likely to love them forever, like keep them as a treasure and that. And I think that's important. I think that's a good part of it.
That is awesome way to think about that. I've never really, like, I guess I've thought of, like, when you have your own, and like when you have a builder or like an installer make something for you, you kind of have your vision going into it. But I guess, like, I never really thought of it like in the long run, if you're going to do it, like, especially when it comes to the etching, like, if you are really passionate about it, like, yeah, you're going to kind of like carry that with you as long as you can, I guess, hold it as a treasure to yourself.
It's personalization. It's making the hilt truly yours. Like, you can have 50 of a hilt that's the same all over the world, or you can have one, which is the only one that exists, which is why I refuse to clone my designs. I won't do the same one again for anyone. It doesn't matter if they beg. It doesn't matter if they offer me double. I will not redo the same design. Simple as that.
That. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's great. You just get one of one no matter what.
It is, yeah. Or all my certificates that come with them, they always say one of one. Always one of one. Oh my
gosh, that is so awesome. And what about USP? Oh, you're on.
You're muted.
I was taken away here. My first install was for my Kylo cosplay, and it was a Parks CG2.
Take me to your leader.
With, giving me PTSD. Where can I see this chat? Where's the link for this chat?
You're looking a little. You're sounding a little
Like an alien.
like an alien. Like an alien.
No. Yeah, one replica. Those super stunts are cool. Is my mic messed up too now?
God, I don't know what's going on.
Like, I'm fine on my end,
I'm good now.
and he's good.
He's gone.
He's gone.
So
And he's
is
gone.
he. But that's it. It's
so
just
what's
the
up,
two of
man?
us now.
All right. Well, get some beers. No, I'm just kidding. Anywho. Oh gosh, there they are. Here, let's see if it fixed.
How's that better?
Oh yeah,
much
way better. 100%.
Right, back where we were. So my first saber install was for my Kylo cosplay, and it was a Parks CG2.
Okay.
There was no chassis. I soldered some wires straight onto a lithium battery, and I jammed it.
Jesus.
And here it is. And I jammed it all inside of that. I went through 4 Profi 1.5s. Yep, and I finally got one that worked. So I wrapped it in masking tape inside the hilt, and I never opened it again. The charging was a couple of alligator clips onto some exposed wires on the end. Yeah, it was terrible. It worked, but it was terrible. But it was still my first install, and it worked.
Heck yeah.
And I was really happy the first time it kicked in. These days, I have somewhat higher standards for my installs. It was a mess. But back then, I was using a $5 soldering iron. I didn't know what flux was. Things just didn't go well, but it worked.
Silicone wire or no?
What's that?
Was it silicone wire, or did you actually stick with PTFE?
No, I didn't know what PTFE was. It's silicone wire. Silicone wire, massive. The hilt's not great to install at the best of times. So I just sort of did what I could to get it done. Even down to hitting it with a grinder and cutting pieces out of it.
Oh wow.
Just made it work.
I made it work. Like it's yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
If that thing hurts, I don't like it. I hate it. I'll keep it forever. I'll probably paint it up and make it a static. But as far as Kylos go, that one hurts me the most.
So I'm gonna ask this question because I feel like for you, what's everybody's favorite Star Wars character? It could be canon, Legends, whatever. But are you Kylo by any chance, or do you just really enjoy Kylo's costume and saber and whatnot?
Kylo is one of them, but I'll probably flip between the 3 Skywalkers. So it's Anakin, Vader, Kylo. Those 3. There's parts of each of them I like. I appreciate like powerful dialogue in the movies, and each of those 3 has times. It's where they give speeches or something like that. Some things I really enjoy, but Vader, even particularly Rogue One Vader, when that happened, that was what Vader should always have been. But yeah, I guess I got one each for each trilogy.
Okay.
But yeah, probably coming out on top. It depends how I'm feeling at the time. I've cosplayed all of them, but Kylo's definitely my favorite to cosplay. Maybe Vader will be once I can do a better Vader. But yeah, definitely Kylo. I just like the character in general. I think there's probably a lot more they could have done with him. There's a lot of missed opportunity with Kylo, but I did enjoy the character. Now with the comics as well, expanding on Kylo's the backstory there, or Ben's backstory. with Ren and the Knights of Ren. So yeah, like they didn't give him enough screen time at the end of Rise of Skywalker. I would have liked some more.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, probably yeah. We'll lock in Kylo for my favorite.
Okay.
I've got to agree with that. I think it'd be Ben Solo is mine hands down, but it's more because I like Jason Solo, and that was our only screen version that we've gotten of Jason Solo.
Very different though.
It is, but it's a nod, and I was like, I will take the nod because I don't know if we'll ever get the actual Jason Solo. Take what I can get. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, as far as me, Jason, I didn't read too much into the lore of that. So for me, like I know about it. It's just like I didn't read the books or comics, whatnot. So for me, obviously, I enjoyed Ben for the most part at the end. Ben. And then I liked Kylo itself. Like Force Awakens, like it's definitely one of my favorite movies just because like dude, that was I don't know, that whole introduction of Kylo for me was sick. I was hyped.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Disney trilogy. The Last Jedi is definitely the weakest point. But you know, people give it a lot of hate. I quite enjoy all of them. I would probably still watch and here's some blasphemy for you. I would probably still watch Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker more than I will watch A New Hope. It's it's just something about how old it is. I love it, but I enjoy the special effects and everything of the newer movies as well. The prequels probably are some of my favorites as well. I like the Republic versus the CIS sort of era.
Okay.
It's more intense. I enjoy the intensity. That's probably what I'm saying of the newer movies more than the older movies because nothing's as intense with the old stuff.
Yeah.
And see, I like the OT because of the props, right? Because of what they had to use to make the stuff. Like that's what sells the OT on me is like what they had to do to make it work. Like it's just incredible for the time that we're doing it.
You mean find random junk and glue it together?
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Like that they could do that. Like it's just like especially like the drilling for the rotoscoping, like all that stuff, all the technology stuff. That it's crazy to me that they even thought to do of it back then. And then on top of that, I like the used universe. I like that it's used and beat up, and that's the part of the sequel trilogy that I like. They kept that going a little bit. It's not brand shiny new. Yeah. Like a lot of it's still old and beat up. But I felt like that was the original vision. You know, like not that I don't like the prequels, but I like that beat up universe. Like it's beaten down. People have lived in it. It's not shiny, brand new. But
no. What about you, Carl?
If I was going to do it by trilogy, I'd say Qui-Gon. Because I love him. I love the fact that he followed the living force. He wasn't beholden to the council. Like he was a real Jedi. He was what the Jedi should have been.
He was my favorite. So yes,
exactly.
I agree.
And then I suppose the original trilogy, I would probably have to go with Han. I think because I really like his cockiness. I think he's brilliant in it.
I think that.
I think. Yeah, I mean, Harrison Ford played the part really well. As we know, he was pretty much one of the only actors who actually made something of himself after that until obviously Mark Hamill did these. And then the sequel trilogy.
Movie-wise, because Hamill has done a lot of other stuff.
Oh, no, I know.
The Joker.
Yeah, he was always with, was it the Jay and Silent Bob guys, wasn't he? He was always doing like Cock Knocker and stuff like that.
Dude. Oh, my gosh. Huge fan of that, obviously.
Absolutely. And then I suppose sequel trilogy is Kylo or Ben, really, because my favorite piece of art on my wall is a Ben.
That is beautiful.
It's a proper beautiful print. That's my favorite. It's absolutely stunning.
That is amazing.
I love the redemption arc. Like, you know, that's what sold it for me. Kylo was great, and Adam Driver played him brilliantly, but the redemption that's what made it perfect. That's what won it for me.
All right.
I was talking to Jeremy last night after watch, because I went through and watched the other Ask An Installer videos. And Jeremy sounds a lot like Adam Driver, how he talks. I'm going to commission him for a few lines. I told him last
I'm going to go back and be like, all right.
I think he thought I was,
Right.
I think he thought I was joking, but I'm not. He's getting a script.
He's in the script.
I'm a big fan of Adam Driver. I watch everything Adam Driver does, even
Have you watched The Dead Don't Die?
No.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
the one with Bill Murray. It's
Yeah.
such a weird film. Like it's nuts.
It's so meta. It's good. Like
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Just last night, I was watching another like an SNL special with Adam Driver in it. It's a Bring Your Father to School Day, and what is he? And he's a nuclear physicist or something like that, and he's crazy. He just does it so well.
I did like his Matt the Radar Technician sketches. They were fantastic.
Oh, that was funny.
Have you seen the second one?
Yes, I've seen the second one. Yeah,
going back in for a second one as well. Yes.
And I think that it speaks to the sequel trilogy, right? Like it would have been so much better had they just focused on his story. Like had it just been about Kylo, Ben Solo, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like it would have been an incredible trilogy just to see that turn that Vader never got, right? Like
yeah.
And fully redeemed.
I don't hate Rey. They've just they just could have done it better. Yeah. And at the end, the fan service, I think J.J. Abrams was sort of giving everyone with The Rise of Skywalker, just giving everyone what they want. I'm not a big fan of that. It sort of takes away from the story itself. There was so many times during that movie where you sort of went, they've said this to for the fans because they're gonna like hearing this, and it made it a little bit unnecessary. But Rey could have been a really, really good character. I would have preferred her go to the dark side and her die at the end. They done a swap.
But then when you consider that Kylo / Ben had murdered millions of people, he kind of had to die. That was the thing.
It's the same thing with Vader too. He can turn back, but what's going to happen to him after that? Yeah, they're going to imprison him for the rest. Of his life.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's great that you're happy now, but you already did all that.
Yeah.
The younglings. No.
Yeah.
But what about the younglings?
No. All right, I got another question that kind of roundabouts it, but I'm going to do it both for Carl and SP here. We're going to go with for Carl, what was your favorite etch that you've ever done? Like, ever done?
You can't ask me that. You can't ask me that.
I have to.
The one he's going to do for me.
Yes, the one I have no idea about yet.
Most excited about. Like, when somebody brought it up to you, you were just like, yes, like I am stoked to do this.
Let me just refresh my memory with my photographs of all the designs I've ever done. I'm making like a scrapbook that's going to have all my work in it. So
that's so cool.
Which one was brought up to me? No, it probably wasn't that one. It's going to be. Can I do a top three?
Yeah, top three for sure.
Excellent.
Got a comment from Cole there. Rey straight up murdered all those chanting Sith worshippers.
I mean, yeah.
Were they real though?
I think they were. Yeah, they were the population of Exegol, weren't they?
Carlson says that so calmly.
Yes, murdered, absolutely.
Murdered, mass murder. It's cool.
Genocide.
Yeah, I think I can narrow it down to two. I think the two I got most excited about were the Thanos sabers I did, with the shine through gemstones.
That's right.
That's insane.
And Eric's Batman saber, because I love Batman, love a bit of Batman, so that was really fun to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got really excited about that. Like the Batman, the actual shroud itself, you can't. Trying to get it to make out there, but
dude, you
can see it, yeah.
Joker's ha, and the Riddler and the quarter that Two-Face uses. Like
that's amazing.
Cool. I really your Gondor Lord of the Rings one as well.
Yeah, my thing is, I did those myself, so that was my off my own back. But yeah, I love those. I think that they were beautiful sabers. They were really good looking.
That one went up for like bidding, didn't it, on Facebook? That was the first one.
No, the Gondor and the Rohan sold as a staff, and I did it as a set price because it was quite expensive. So
I still remember the first one that went up for like the common bidding.
Oh, the saber of the fallen kings. Yeah, my first Lord of the Rings.
You seemed almost surprised when it went for the price that it did.
Well, yeah, because it was like my fifth saber. Like I'd gone from like £300 to £2,000. That was nuts. I remember sitting there watching the bidding before I went to sleep because I went to bed overnight because most of the bidding was from the USA, and it got to like 800 quid, and I was sort of about to go to sleep, and I was thinking, I feel ill. I actually feel ill because, you know, what if they receive this saber and they go, well, this is a heap of junk. Why have I paid this much money for it? Because I wasn't sure of myself then. I didn't have the experience. I'm still learning now, but I was very much learning then. And you know, that was all experimentation. So it was when it sold for what it did, and I had to send it off with the insurance and all that. And I was like, if he opens that and he hates it, I'm going to just go and hang myself. Like, it would have been awful. But I think after that sold and he got it, and you know, it's gone to Harp now for an install, which is a huge flattery for a flagship to have a Harp install done on it. So that helped a lot with my confidence.
That's awesome. Now, so those are two. What would be the third?
To be honest,
dude, just seeing those, that like I've seen your work, but dude, that's insane.
I think my third favorite is an oldie but a goodie. I did just an Egyptian style etch with a two-tone polish on the shrouds.
Oh my gosh!
So you can see the outside of the shrouds is absolutely mirror polish. The inside of the shrouds is dulled, which was really difficult to do. I had to get a very tiny polishing nib, and I had to go around all the edges carefully without hitting the weathering underneath. And it was absolutely nuts. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I love that saber.
Zach, Darth Raven's Nerd Nest is in the house. Good buddy of ours. Thank you for coming through, dude. Man, those are that's like sickening to look at because of how good
I think I want an Invincible one. Would you be interested in that? Do you know Invincible at all or no?
It's not ringing a bell.
So go on Prime. Go on Prime and watch Invincible. It's a cartoon, but it's like, what if superpowers were real in real life? What would happen?
I think the world would burn, surely.
It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
It is, yeah. Invincible.
All right, so what's your favorite build that you've done? What is your favorite masterpiece that you created?
It's going to be... It's an evolving sort of question. Because obviously I did the Dark Grey Staff, which I love when the first one turned up. It was awesome. But you know, the Kylo is something that I just love the Kylo saber itself. I did the conversion on the Phoenix props to light hilts. So they start off as a Ben Solo, and I made a new emitter piece. And I did about 13 of them. And I actually hand cut out the shrouds. I'll never do it again. And then so that was the first sort of iteration, almost like the V2.5 Kylo hilt, which led through to the V3, which it's my own favorite little masterpiece I've done. Definitely the most complicated I've done. Trying to get all the detail in whilst making it strong, and keeping the engine small was the key thing. See, I could add plenty of detail to an engine, but it'd be too big. So I had to come up with a way to get that to happen. And I might as well show it off a little bit now.
Dude,
without the switches on.
It's so good.
Look at that.
That is insane.
So yeah, completely metal, other than the wires, of course.
How heavy is it?
It came in at
Oh, he's stealing it. I love you. Oh gosh.
That's in pounds. I don't know how to read pounds. Pounds stupid. Metric system.
I know. It's
Okay, so about 800 grams.
That's not bad, really.
It's not bad.
So
I'll say that's not bad, not knowing what that is.
4 Samsung phones for a better unit of measurement than the Imperial system. Yeah, so a lot of people have asked, is it durable? Can I duel with it? Does it rattle? So I'll undo it. Give a little sneak peek at the inner structure of how it actually comes together. It had to be dual worthy. Obviously, you've got Cal's crossguard, which is the it's going to be the pinnacle of accuracy. You can't outdo it for accuracy. Once you're sort of there, you're there. As far as the prop shop goes, anyway. But it's obviously not a hilt you're going to take and duel with. It's just wasn't intended for that. So we've got the inner core.
So it's a straight core.
Wow.
Look at that.
So
That's amazing.
That center is solid. And it bolts together.
Oh, nice.
Alternating on there, so I can undo the top section. The same thing with the quillions as well. Yes, Cole, there is another run. So the first run of 100 sold out in a week, which was just awesome. Derek and I had spoken, and we thought, we'll probably sell 75 out of 100 on pre-order, and we'll just have the rest there in stock. But no, we sold out in a week. So that's the center there.
That's crazy.
So that's a fair chunk of metal just there. I think you'll have a pretty hard time breaking it. The quillions are the same. So they actually bolt through the middle to the outside, so you don't have to twist them to install because it scratches paint, it scratches heat staining. And then there's obviously 4 cutouts inside for wire management. Then for the wire management, because it has a relatively shallow blade depth compared to something like the light, because it's got to have the thin engine. I didn't want the wires coming out inside, of the blade socket. So we had channels. This section comes off. The wires will feed through.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool.
Back in the hole. Back in that hole, and then come out, and then you'll use a tool, key like that, and push the wire back out like that there. So I did a test, and I can fit 3 20-gauge wires in, so plenty big enough. And then with the second piece of wire, you'd go inside, in through the main hole in the quillion. You wouldn't do it with the quillions on, you'd do it with it. You'd actually install the quillions, put them on and feed the wires the other way. But the wires will come out back through the quillion, down through the channel, that bit there comes back up, slots on, done. Wire straight down the middle, into the bottom, and you're done. No visible wires at all hidden. And obviously when that, pull it through a little bit through there, it doesn't actually come into the blade socket at all. It comes out raw.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so that's what I say when it comes to designing hilts. The having knowledge of how installs work does come into play there, because if you've never installed a hilt yourself, you know, it's hard to know will the components fit, how it's going to come together when it's actually finished, which is important, because nothing worse than getting a saber and you find out that it's more or less uninstallable when you get it without having to make some heavy mods or draw.
Matt's dealing with that right now, aren't you? A little bit, Matt.
I don't think I have anything that's crazy.
Well,
right now.
well, I'll say, wasn't that one that you got for yourself that, you know?
Oh, I'll come out and say it right away. The Second Sister from Pock Store, the Ultimate Works one. Dude, what? Oh, I don't even want to go into it. Like, it's just, what they did with it was just so stupid for the engineering. It's just, it wasn't a smart way to design it. That's all. And the chassis design is such a pain to even get anything to fit properly. Like, I just look at it and I wonder what the choices were. So when someone makes a hilt that like they're considering the installer, I'm always going to go towards that hilt.
Yeah.
But the problem with the Second Sister hilt, there's only two choices, right? There's the Corbanth one, which I don't even know who it was made by, because they won't say. I don't know if it was it LDM is usually who he goes through?
No, it's not LDM.
So who was it then? Because it's usually he either goes through LDM or 89 Sabers, and it's not 89 Sabers.
No, he does have other manufacturers as well. I won't know the names, but yeah, there is others.
Okay.
Make hilts are all, we're all sort of protective. I've had people ask me to do hilt runs with them, or not even with them. It's more who is your factories, who makes your hilts. It's not something we generally ask, because, like, for example, this Kylo I'm holding now cost Derek and I $5,000 US for one.
Yep.
You pay for the prototyping. I've been through 3 or 4 different factories now that sucked. So I've lost out a lot of money. It's one of those things, you sort of play the game. While we'd all love to share that information, it's it's sort of something you need to work out for yourself. Find the good manufacturers, build that relationship with them, because you can't just go to a factory and expect them to make what you want, because they don't know lightsabers. They don't understand. You give them a drawing, they'll just make it.
Right.
And if it doesn't fit together, then
they're going to say that's what was on the drawing.
Yeah, or see, even I've done that. I've even on this Kylo, the prototype, there was this part here. I hadn't accounted for a change, and it was like a millimeter too long, didn't fit. Lucky I picked up on it before they shipped the prototype and they adjusted it. But it's just one of those things. It's not as simple as downloading free CAD software, drawing a hilt, saying, here, I'm going to make this hilt, or here's my design, or it's the same thing as installing. Taking commissions to design hilts, I think, is in the same sort of boat. I don't think you should be really selling hilt designs until you've proven that you can do so, because it's not as simple as just slapping it together, unless you're doing something like I've got this, like,
right,
super basic. But for like high-end custom runs, it's not as simple as just drawing it, sending it, and shipping it to people. A lot more goes into it. Like this, the V3 Master Edition, there's so many parts in that run. Wooden crates, first little sneak peek at the Wayfinder, stands, plaques, everything comes together. It's not, you don't just hit up a factory and say, this is what I want, here you go. They don't all do it. yeah, so you got to sort of find the good ones. And there's a million factories around the world. You know, some can do good work, some can do bad work. Some of them start off by doing good work and end up delivering crap. You know, they'll send you an awesome prototype and then
Sell you.
and then the other 100 that you receive, they've cheaped out on. But you've approved the prototype and said yes. What are you going to do? So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. It's hilt design and installs, they go together. And if you're not an installer designing hilts, then maybe liaise with someone who does. You know, I talked to Jeremy, asked him. I sent him a copy of the V3 model so that he could design the chassis for it, make sure it's all going to work. I can design chassis as well, but I'm just not as good at it. It's, yeah, they work, but Jeremy's like flawlessly work.
Clicking.
Yes.
Same thing. So I work with all sorts of other makers in the community as well. I don't just do things alone. I've got I do all my own CAD work on this, but I work with graphic designers, other 3D modelers to do certain things. Sam from Shadowfoil did my flame blades for the Kylo because I just am not good at sculpting, 3D sculpting. That's a whole nother ball game. But he's been dabbling in that and he did really well.
Huh. Did not know that.
Neither did I. So, Carl, on etching, for me, I have to ask. So, is everything by hand, or is it how does it, is it laser etched? Like, how is it? How does it go down?
A bit of a rabbit hole, to be honest. I could probably talk for hours and hours and hours and bore everyone to death about the process. No. To put it very simply, the design is printed onto special transfer paper. It's press and peel blue. It's pretty much what every etcher uses.
Not here. Not here. It's $30 for one sheet here.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's about £2.50 here, so that's about $5 Australian. You know, it's not so bad. But it's still quite expensive.
Four at the moment. 30 here for one.
Jesus. Okay, fair enough. But I use press and peel blue, and I think most of the American etchers do as well because it's even cheaper there. But you print your design onto it.
Okay.
You cut out the design. One of the things to really be aware of with etching, especially if you're doing shrouds, is that because there's an edge, because it finishes, it's not just a round cylinder. If you want to get the transfer on there properly, you have to make sure that the cut is inside the diameter of the shrouds. Because if the paper lips over it, in any capacity, when you tape it, it sort of lifts at the edges. It kind of bends the paper up just enough so that the pressure won't stick the design to the metal properly, and you'll end up with a load of holes all over the edges. So which is really irritating. Actually took me a few months to work that out. I was always refilling those holes and painting them in by hand, and if there was designs there, I was redoing it with a scriber. And you know, the learning process is saving time constantly because you're always learning. You're always figuring out what you did wrong there, and so on.
How hot do you have to heat it up to transfer it?
It depends on your printer. Now, it's actually a huge bugbear of mine because I've been through 3 printers. I've had a Xerox Phaser, I've had a Samsung, and I've had a Lexmark. Don't use Lexmarks if you can help it. They're terrible. The toner that they use in their cartridges just does not stick very well to metal. I don't know why. The Xerox was the best. For some reason, theirs really does well with transferring all the design. There's no bleed or anything like that. It's really nice. Samsung was good as well. But I use about 165 degrees, and that's in Celsius, not your terrible system.
You still use miles, though.
Well, yeah, we do. I agree. It's only for driving. It's for nothing else. There's, you know.
Would you not prefer to work in 1s and 10s? Like, what is 1.6 or everything?
But to us, you guys are working in 0.7. That's the problem.
It's like this. It's like, what is you've got a meter which is 10 centimeters, but you've got a foot which is 12 inches. 12's not a good number to work with ever.
Is a foot 12 inches?
I don't know. I always get my inches mixed up.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with it. Anyway, where was I? Yes. You then tape the cutout to the metal as tightly as you can with thermal resistant tape. Because if you use, you can use packing tape. I prefer the thermal. It's easier to remove. It's less messy. But you tape it on there nicely. Like you've got to make sure everything's all nice and flat. There's no air bubbles. Push them all out if you get any, so on and so forth. And then you stick it in the oven at 165 for about 15 minutes. Pull it back out. Wait for it to cool down. Because if you start mucking about with it while it's still hot, you'll probably blur the toner or whatever, because it's still in that glass state where it can move around. And then when you pull it off, hopefully you've got a good transfer to the metal. And what that does is it pulls off the backing on the press and peel, which is like a plastic, which is completely impervious to the acid. Theoretically, it's not, because you can sometimes get little bits where the toner hasn't taken, but the plastics come off anyway, and it doesn't really stay there when you put it in the acid. It bleeds through, and you'll have a flaw appear where there shouldn't have been one. So that's why I always hand reinforce with my own stuff, because you just can't trust that layer. It's not always going to be guaranteed. And once you've done that, I do my masking. I'll tape off areas that don't need to be etched. I'll paint over all the designs as best I can, except, unless they're really fine, because there's only so much I can do. And then once that's done, it goes in the acid. So it depends if it's brass. If it's brass, I'll just leave it in there, because brass takes longer and it doesn't react badly with ferric chloride. It won't explode everywhere. With this aluminium, I'll be standing at the sink for about half an hour doing a minute dip, pulling it back out, cooling it off, because you can't let it get too hot, because if it gets too hot, the reaction's uncontrollable, and then it destroys your design, and so on and so forth. It's a rabbit hole I can go down it. Yeah. It's very stressful, yeah.
So but it's easy, and anyone can do it.
Sorry?
You said it sounds easy and anybody can do it.
Now, obviously, when I initially got into this, I read Cal's etching tutorial that he had on YouTube, that little video he's got. And because it's only like an 8-minute video, and it's just like, yeah, do this, do that, bish, bosh, done. And I thought, that's brilliant. I can do that. Look how easy that is. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's a lie.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with anything, though. If you've got someone who's seasoned and good at something, they make it look easy, very easy. It's why people same as installing. There's nothing really complicated about soldering to a board, but is it really easy? It depends. Depends if you're good at it or not. It's relative. It's relative to everything. I had an idea. I just had a thought when you said about if the tape isn't down tight enough. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought of vacuum sealing the parts?
I haven't actually. Although
that would be really
good idea. Yeah.
You know those.
Is there heat? I suppose you could use heat shrink, couldn't you?
I wouldn't use heat shrink. You know those food packaging vacuum sealers?
Yeah.
I reckon you'd tape it on first as you normally do, but then put it on a vacuum bag and just suck it, because that'd just clamp it. That's just an idea I just had then when you said it can't come up.
You'd need it to be thermally resistant, obviously.
Yeah, I wonder what those bags can take, because I know there's ones you can get that you can chuck them in a pot, like a boiling pot of water, and it doesn't hurt it at all. Just something I thought.
There you go. The person who isn't an etcher has just revolutionized etching. Fantastic. I'll go. See you later, guys.
Yeah, International Patent Office. Saber etching bag.
Yeah, there you go.
Christopher, if I'm etching brass, because I use what's called an Edinburgh etch, which is I add citric acid in a specific quantity. So if you've got 5 liters of ferric, you add 500 grams of citric acid along with a liter of water, which basically the citric acid pulls all the copper ions off the surface and stops the etch gumming up, so you won't get the uneven etch or the lines or anything. It makes it nice and smooth then. But if I'm doing aluminium, do not dilute your ferric chloride. Buy the highest degree balm you can, because the thinner that is, the faster it works. And with aluminium, because it's explosive with it, if you have thin ferric, it will just go in the acid and it will go everywhere. It'll just come over the edge and ruin everything. So do not dilute it with acid. With aluminium, not acid, aluminium.
Okay. Have you learned a lot of these problems firsthand, or like through forums? Oh,
Yes, I have learned a lot of these firsthand.
have you ever
yes.
gotten like burned or anything crazy like that? Or
No, ferric doesn't hurt human skin.
Okay.
I hardly ever wear gloves these days. I don't even bother. There's no point. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't do anything to me. All it does is it because it's essentially a very salty solution.
Mhm.
When it dries, like at the end of the day, if I've been etching, my hands are really dry. Like
Okay.
they've got all those lines down your fingers, and that you have to get some moisturizer on there. But other than that, it doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Although it will stain anything. Right? Don't go near it with anything you like. The amount of clothes I've ruined is unbelievable. Like it stains concrete. If you put it on concrete, it turns it orange. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
It oxidizes any iron like that.
Mm.
If you chuck any iron in ferric chloride, it'll just blow up.
Yeah, it literally works. It's like putting potassium in water. So
I use ferric chloride for weathering, with iron, with old bolts and nuts to get the rust.
you aquatint with it, do you?
I make rust, so
Okay.
I basically throw just whatever scrap metal I have in a container that will rust and oxidize. Leave it overnight, come back, and I have a container full of rust and real metallic tasting air. But I use that to paint on kylos in the engines and stuff like that. It's the same thing with weathering. People ask a lot about weathering as well. So that's what Carl just mentioned with his dry hands. See, I use a lot of thinners. I use all automotive paints. I don't use anything like I can't think of it, like Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum is the bane of my existence. I hate it. It is literally the worst paint that exists, along with all enamel. I hate enamels.
Rather fond of enamel myself.
So I use a lot of like your two pack automotive paints. I've done some automotive spray painting, but I've got a plethora of auto paints there. So a lot of 2-pack stuff. It's not good for you. I've painted some helmets. How do you get the helmet so shiny? I'm like, I use 2-pack clear. Where can I get it? I'm like, you don't.
You know.
I said, I will not ever advise you to go out and buy these chemicals and do them yourself. I said, you go and do your research. You find out what you're working with first. And then if you want to do it, go and find it. Because a lot of these stuff's nasty. Ferric chloride will burn you. Sodium hydrochloride will burn you. 2-pack paint will give you cancer. So, people ask me all the time, how do I do it? And it's not about being secretive. There's things that you need to find out, learn for yourself, and there are things that are dangerous to be done. So I tend to point people more towards a research source, and they can find out what they're actually doing before messing around, because I don't want to be responsible for someone hurting themselves. It's can be very nasty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like people
Matt knows from experience. So
Yeah, I got hospitalized. Like that was fun. From aluminum black. So
Did you drink it?
No, I took a nice black cloud to the face. So I had a hilt in a container and shook it up. And I just did it like I normally did, but usually I do it outside. Like just being cocky because I'd used it so many times, like whatever. And open it up right to the face. Oh yeah, big black sparkly smoke right to the face. Eyes are watering, nose is running. Like, so I followed the SDS sheet, got into the shower. It said just wash off for 15 minutes, you'll be fine. So whatever, I go out about my day, and I have a runny nose all day. I'm thinking, whatever, I'll be fine. But as the night's going on, I'm having a harder and harder time breathing. I'm starting to wheeze really bad. I'm like, all right, this probably isn't good. And I was just going to say whatever and go to bed. And it was actually Cody who said, dude, you need to go to the hospital and get checked out because that does not sound right. And he's like, and I don't want to scare you, but if you go to sleep, you could not wake up. And I'm like, well, that's kind of fucking freaky. All right. So we went to the hospital and sat for 4 hours, didn't get seen, even though I said I was having breathing issues. And then went to a different hospital and got in immediately and got breathing treatment, inhaler, all the 9 yards. So that was a ton of fun. But yeah.
What had it actually done to you?
So they think that it burnt the inside of my nasal cavity, and then it actually got into my lungs, and like it tasted like I had a mouthful of blood for like a week straight. Like that's what, because it was irony. It tasted like iron. And so it was nasty. Like I'm fine. It was a really weird experience. Really, really weird. But,
I'm glad I don't wear the sabers all that often.
yeah, needless to say, now it's respirator, goggles outside. I make sure I don't touch the stuff inside. But it's freaky.
It's the same thing with stripping anodizing. This is what you use here.
Yeah.
Caustic soda.
No, not going to touch it. You know, soda pearls. You put those in water. It'll strip anodizing. No worries. It'll strip skin. It'll do all sorts of stuff. It says very specifically cold water. Otherwise, the release of gas.
Jesse,
hydroponic.
Jesse's in the house.
The release of gas, if you use caustic soda with hot water, it'll just vaporize. And but the thing is, it works faster. So of course, I use hot water. And there've been times where I haven't been able. I've got a big old sink under the house that I use, and I've had it sitting in there in a tray. I was actually when I was stripping all the KRs of their anodizing, and I couldn't get within 5 meters of that sink because this mist was everywhere, and you breathe it in, and it'll put you on the ground.
Yeah,
it burns you. Burns inside. Like I've had exposure to tear gas and capsicum spray. It's very comparable to that sort of feeling where you breathe it in, and you just immobilize. It just chokes you out.
Yeah.
It's not very good. That's why these things it can be very unsafe, and everyone needs to do research. It's something simple as weathering. You know, do your research.
On top of that, even like with the research though, don't get cocky either. Like if you've done it, like that was my mistake. I just got cocky with it. I was like, I've used it so many times, I'll be fine. And it was just pure stupidity. That's normally not how I would do it inside the house with no ventilation whatsoever in the room that I do installs in. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. It was just, and that's the thing, I wasn't thinking. It was like, I'm going to do it real quick. I can strip it real quick with sandpaper and then I'll be good to go. And no, that's not how that went. So
no, I've like a lot of people come under my house and they tell me they can smell paint. They tell me they can smell thinners.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been working with it so long. See, like I don't wear gloves, thin or thick gloves, so I do everything bare hand.
My hands constantly smell of chemicals. It's all I can ever smell on my hands.
It can't be good. Like I feel all right now, but this can't be doing me any favors. I can't smell thinners at all, or paint, because I've worked with it so much now. It's like that's what I was cleaning pre-stream with the toothbrush. I was cleaning down the kylo with a toothbrush and thinners. And like you could put thinners and a glass of water in front of me, and if I smelt them, I wouldn't know which was which. I'd probably end up drinking thinners. It's just sort of you desensitize when you get around stuff, but it's still, you know, potentially like even the caustic soda now isn't as harsh on me as it was. Doesn't mean it's not still burning. 2-pack paint. I've had occasions where I've painted half a car or a few panels and haven't worn a mask because it was just a quick job, in, out. Later that night, the paint has started to harden in my lungs, and that's when I that's when I knew about it. So yeah, a lot of these chemicals aren't a joke. I see people painting Mandalorian helmets with 2-pack spray packs in their garage, and it's like
No respirator.
no respirator at all, no ventilation. People doing epoxy resin work. Epoxy resin is carcinogenic. The hardener isocyanate will give you cancer. And here's people just touching it and mixing with their finger and breathing it in. It's nasty. And people do it like in their room. Fair enough if you know what it's going to do.
And you just don't care.
But yeah, that's it. I've got to get the job done, so I just do it. But it's one thing to be ignorant and one thing to be oblivious, which is why I will never recommend someone to go and buy a certain chemical and say, yeah, just this is how I do it with this chemical.
Right.
I use this acid because it's like someone's going to get this acid, or like caustic soda oven cleaner. Most oven cleaners are sodium hydrochloride, which is caustic soda, which is an acid. I saw a video of someone, a live stream of someone holding a hilt, spraying it with oven cleaner to strip the anodizing off it, with no gloves, and getting it on their skin. Oh, funny that they got burnt. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, "You're an idiot."
It's not me, so
you know, yeah, just learning.
I definitely. I learned that that trick about 4 or 5 years ago with the paint hardening. Obviously, I paint cars, we do it all, and same exact. Well, I mean, it was pretty bad for like probably about a week or so, but it was a buddy of mine's dad who's been an automotive body guy, painter his entire life. He's like, I've lost multiple friends in this business because they refused to wear masks for years and years and years and years. So I was like, all right, I'll never. So every time I even step into the garage and I'm painting or doing anything like that, I'm always having a respirator.
Yeah, I've got an 800 mil extractor fan under the house.
Oh,
so
nice.
If I'm painting everything, the fan's here, I hold the part in front of the fan, I paint like that.
Yeah.
That way it's all good. But it's a convenience thing. For me to hook, I've got an air-fed respirator that hooks onto the compressor for me to do that. Hook all that up and get all the air lines and the filters on and stuff. It's easier for me to scrub, just paint it. And that's it. It's complacency, really. Not ideal, but it is sort of what it is at this point.
I appreciate like you at least going over like the safety with it, because I think that's something, especially on streams or like informational videos, like people really don't go over that. So I really appreciate that, just because I know on my end, that's why I told Matt, because I've been working around chemicals my entire life because of what I do. So that's why he's like, yeah, but I was like, you can have chemical burn on your throat, and that is not something you want to wake up with.
I come from union plumbing, and so it's like, just be a man and whatever. No. And like, that's not the answer though. Like, it's 100% go get it looked at, dude. That's not a good idea.
Shit and chemicals aren't the same. I'd rather the chemicals.
Yeah.
Dude, there's some chemicals that I've been around that like I have questioned for sure. Like, there's this place called Zug Island, and it's over here in Detroit. It's shut down now, thank God. But I've been there a few times, and like, you have to get tested. Your blood has to get tested every 3 months to see. I can't remember the name of the chemical, to see if the level has hit the threshold yet. And if you hit a certain threshold, you can no longer work there. The level has to go back down, then you can go back again. Yeah. It's rated as the second most polluted plant in the world, and that's kind of the reason that it got shut down.
It's Chernobyl first.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's Chernobyl first.
Yeah. It's
well, yeah, truly.
Jeez.
It's the same thing with isocyanates in the paint industry as well. There's testing for that. You can test the isocyanate levels and your lung capacity. It'll kill you. But the main thing that's brought on my sort of little safety focus lately has been when these arrived. I had a friend come over, and we both grabbed one of these, and we started just flogging the living hell out of each other with them. Now, there's one thing to get hit in the face by a 1-inch polycarbonate blade. there's a difference between getting hit with that and getting hit with a 10 mil carbon fiber rod.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's what I've told people, if you're going to do it, glasses, if you're going to, wear glasses, or, even put a rubber. I'm thinking of doing it for the remaining ones I've got and trying to find some sort of rubber tips for them, because, I'd hate for someone to lose an eye or something like that. While having fun. Like I've had broken knuckles from lightsabers before. Kia from Odd Sabers with his Incendious hilt. That's a nearly a 2 kilo lightsaber hilt made of steel, and he's got broken fingers. He's had a broken finger now for 6 months.
Holy
and
crap!
Then he got back out and started doing it again. Hit the same finger, and broke it again. You're flogging pieces of metal together and rods. Some people get real into it. I don't want people losing an eye because they've taken a spin flex to their friend.
Pretty cool story.
I thought for home defense, though, yeah, sure, it's going to work really well. I haven't actually given a demo on video yet, but I'll give a quick one because people have asked about the durability of the carbon blades.
Oh boy.
My dude. Dude, that was amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah, they won't break.
No.
That hurt. That hurt a lot. It's jarred my wrist really well. Cole's asked about everyone's favourite solders or types.
I just go with the Oster.
The more lead, the better.
Yeah.
It's basically it. Lead, flux, ventilation. I have soldered a saber before, and later that night had blood in my urine from the lead exposure. So sitting here like this, soldering, breathing in soldering fumes, not good. But lead solder is the best. You get lead-free solder, it's much harder to use. Yeah, doesn't flow out.
Yeah,
And then there's the solder with the asbestos in it, which is even better.
So there is a question for you, Carl. Are all your personal hilts etched?
Not all of them, no. Mainly because there's certain hilts. For example, my scrap flex from Nick over at Starfall. Nice. I don't want to etch that. It's beautiful as it is. It does not need custom work on it, and it's another artist's piece of work, and I don't want to etch it. But there are some pretty special ones I've done, like my KR Revan, which I've etched with a Bioshock.
That's sick.
Oh, now that's sweet, dude.
That is sick.
I even did the copper rings as well.
See Rapture right on it.
Yeah, that's that. Incidentally, it's a beautiful etch. It is one of my favorites, but it doesn't make the top 3. And then there's others that you can, like my Jedi Killer, which is
I love that.
Completely black and not raw metal, so it can't be done.
But you could strip it with some sort of dangerous acid.
No.
If Phoenix ever does another run of the Jedi Killer, I know I've seen a few people.
Is he going to do a raw version?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him about it, but I've had a few people message me and ask me if I'm doing it. I'm like, I don't know. Phoenix and I are separate. I didn't have anything to do with the Jedi Killer, but that's what I was going to say. If he does do it again, I've got one as well in the box here, which I'm
just in a random box. Here's this beautiful saber under the floor behind a bin,
well, midway through. Ignore the tape; it's temporary. Because I haven't got the right terminals from the batteries, but midway through doing mine, and it's not a great hilt. There's not a lot of space to install it at all. Yeah, so you need to use all these 10-pin adapters, and that's got to go in a certain order. But yeah, I'd love a raw one or even a white one.
I'd like a raw.
There you go. A zip killer.
I'd be sick.
Yeah, a raw one. Or I really like the VZ hilt. Done in white. I've seen a few.
I liked that too.
Cal's one's done in white, which I'm a big fan of.
It was like white and gold, wasn't it?
White and gold, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good looking.
Didn't Ultimate Works do the same kind of thing? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Didn't like it. Didn't like it as much as Cal's.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, that's never the case though? Is it? Like, I don't like that one. Cal's is not as good as this one. It's always Cal's is better generally.
Yeah, more or less, it's best in field, but different markets too.
Yeah.
You know, although I'm pretty sure they were probably a similar price at the time. But yeah, you probably won't find a KR one floating around.
I haven't seen any for ages.
I haven't seen in a while.
I think he does another run of those. I'll be straight on that. But yeah, white. I haven't got any white hilts. The Rebel is Rebel. Who is it? Rebellion Outpost or in Deanna in USA had the Stormtrooper hilt that they were doing.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that hilt.
I want to do like this. It's like a commando. I want to do this in white, but it's just weathered instead. It just reminds me of like a standard issue like clone or a Stormtrooper's saber. So I feel like in white it would just look sick.
I feel like a sort of a very streamlined, like the Tron hilt that Dimitri did. I feel like that in white would be very similar to something.
Yeah, that one was like really squared off, wasn't it?
If you check out Arm on Fire, he does it. I have one in the works with him right now, the actual Stormtrooper hilt, where it's pulled from the Legends book.
Oh, from the Legends book?
Yeah. My commission it was supposed to be July, but I know how that goes. So it should be done the next month or so. But yeah, he makes a Stormtrooper one, and it's pretty legit. Like, it's pretty cool. It's got like the bubble card and everything, how it actually was in the book.
Oh, nice.
Oh, right.
The only thing is the wait for that one is 6 months plus, I think, something like that. But it's handcrafted.
Right now, I've been looking at options for a 4-axis CNC mill.
It's expensive.
It is expensive, but I'd like to be able to do in-house stuff. Prototyping particularly. Outside of time, I can do things else, but then one-off hilts. That's something I'd really like to get into. I like doing the mass runs, but I'd love to be able to sit down, work with people, do exactly what you do, but for the hilt design. Get them on a video chat while I model a hilt, make changes, and have one-off pieces. Just completely one-offs. And I'm not a machinist. I've never really used a lathe or a mill. I've had a go at them, but nothing that I'd be confident. Nothing like Russell Wade sabers or Clint would do, stuff like that. But CNC, on the other hand, I have done a bit of that. I think I can do some pretty cool things. And another Australian fellow who does lightsabers actually put me onto a CNC supplier.
Nice.
So it'd be really cool to get something like that to have. And do custom work. Tron repulse.
It'd be cool to see one-offs like that. Like that Arm on Fire. What else did he do? He did the Jedi saber that never made it to Force Awakens. So you know how there's the vision where it's got the Knights of Ren over the Jedi, and it's never revealed who that Jedi is. And he's holding a lightsaber, and it's just a silver piece, and it's just got like some notches at the top, and it's in for 2 seconds. It's barely in the movie at all. He did that one too. So that's the thing. That's a cool stuff. You can pull stuff off like that won't be to a mass market, but someone wants it.
He does Pong Krell's saber as well, doesn't he? Similar to the Temple Guard one.
Yeah.
I really, really like that saber. I must hit him up for one of those.
you got here? What's that? Kyle
He's
Katarn.
reasonably priced too. Like it's not crazy expensive.
Yeah.
That Kyle Katarn hilt I have not seen before. Well, I've seen it, but like not done like that. That's not massive and ugly. That looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Every other one, who did that?
But he's got some legit stuff. It's. I mean, he takes his time, but you can tell when the
Look
end
at
product's nice.
Look at his shop
I've
setup.
never heard a bad word about him.
Wow, look at his shop setup.
I don't know where he's out of. I'm not sure. I think it's the East Coast, but I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, no, it'd be awesome to be able to get into
The one-offs like that.
hand making stuff. Moving by hand like that, that's awesome.
I mean, you could do all the Legends hilts, and just make them one-offs because it's not going to appeal to everyone. But
It's more that doing hilts that have like already designed hilts, whether canon or not. Like there's probably a market to make those in a run. It's more people wanting something unique. I had a guy who works at Caltech. He wanted me to 3D model him up a hilt based on the space shuttle.
That's sick.
Yeah, so it's a rocket. It's not an overly complicated design, but it's still cool. It's really different.
It's personalized. It's what they want. So that's what's cool.
So that'd be really cool because people do handmade stuff, but there's no one like in Australia who does it. I think you're pretty limited to the US. I don't even know if I've really heard of anyone in the UK who does.
There's Origin Saber in France who does that.
Okay, yeah.
That's gotta be crazy because that you can almost pull anything from, I guess for me it'd be like a certain kind of katana or something like that. Like you could literally just do whatever, based off of realistically anything, Thor's hammer. That would be sick.
Someone's done that. Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's actually an LGT project, but it does look fairly cool. How they've done it. Everything's in the hilt, and then the whole head of the hammer lights up, or I think it might be just the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the vine work. Yeah.
It's all backlit.
That'd be sick.
Origin Saber. CNC machines are like car expensive. Yes. And that's something else I can make. The first thing I would mill on the CNC is a turbine wheel, a huge one.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Not limiting it to saber stuff. I'm looking at getting to other fandoms, so I'm a big fan of Doctor Who as well.
Okay.
So sonic screwdrivers. I'm not. I'm working on a 1-to-1 rideable Dalek.
Oh, nice! You're going to be Davros, basically.
No, Davros full inside. I just thought it'd be a lot of fun to be getting around in a Dalek at a convention, more or less abusing people. Within reason, of course, but I think that could be a lot of fun.
The anonymity would be good.
Yeah, everyone in your way. So I've got the voice modulator and stuff already because that had to be the first thing I had. Because even if I don't finish the Dalek ever, I've still got the modulator. I can still have a lot of fun with that. And for days after that turn up, I just walked around the house. This is not war. This is pest control. just mimicking Dalek lines because it's just a lot of fun. But I like to get into sonic screwdrivers as well. That'd be cool. They don't really have a place in my display anywhere because I'm very, very Star Wars orientated. I might have to get one shelf or something with everything else. For the Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings stuff.
Yeah. Those shelves will take over, though. I can warn you.
What's that?
I said those shelves will take over quick. I'll warn you real quick.
Our
Harry Potter shelves are dude, it's
I don't have
everywhere.
space. I need space. And that's why I said I could go out and get myself an office or a workshop. There's a few around here that are very reasonably priced, but then all my stuff's not in my house. I love just coming home. This is the office. Got the computer here. Got my stuff there. It's I don't want to be anywhere else, so I'm limited to what I can do. I've got Kylo there. I've got my TK there. Then in the corner, I don't know if you can see down in the corner, an unfinished R2 there.
Oh gosh, I do see that.
And 3PO's half assembled, standing up. It all needs a lot of work. They're all pretty janky sort of fiberglass casts. 3PO I picked up really cheap actually, and someone had just grabbed gold spray paint and just sprayed straight over it, so it looks pretty horrific. But when I find the time, I'm going to do that. And I've got a Vader I can put up as well. 1-to-1s take up a lot of space. But they just look awesome.
Oh yeah.
And they're all
first as soon as you got on beforehand and I seen that, I was like, oh my gosh.
I love
I've actually got 2 Kylos. That's my Rise of Skywalker Kylo. I've got the TFA Kylo as well. But nice. I needed TFA was first, but I needed something that I could troop in summer.
Okay.
It's like 40 degrees Celsius here. Carl, you'll know what that means. You guys know it.
40 degrees. If it hit 40 degrees here, I'd probably be dead. So,
What are you used to? 20?
I think the hottest we had recently was 32. So.
32.
But the thing is, we're a lot more humid than you guys, so it's a really uncomfortable heat. It's just like...
Yeah, you just get a lot of rain. So it's dry, but we do have a lot of humid heat as well. It's winter, and we were at 36 degrees. We don't get snow here ever. There's no snow.
Yeah, neither do we.
I have snow 7 months of the year.
Michigan sucks, dude. Like it'll hit.
Like if I go somewhere with snow, that's like a big deal for me. Like I went to an indoor snow park, and I was like, "Oh, snow!" It's just like
an indoor snow park. What even is that?
It was basically a warehouse where they've just filled it with snow. They make it, and
the hubris of humanity is like, we're in the desert. Let's build a snow park. Why?
Australia's not a desert. The Australia that gets featured on any sort of social media is
koala bears, kangaroos, and lots of dry bushes.
Yeah, pretty much. And in reality, that is most of Australia, but that's not where anyone lives. The giant centre of Australia, and that's what it's like. And everyone else basically lives on the coast, which is, this is like outside my house here. That's a tree. That's a tree and a dog and a window. But where people have chosen to live, it's a lot nicer. It's much like anywhere else. So fairly spread out. We don't punch kangaroos, with that one exception, to the guy who did fight the kangaroo. We don't have koala bears that drop out of the trees and try to kill you.
There's no drop bears?
Drop bears,
Do you guys have massive spiders though?
They do have huntsman spiders. Like this
spiders.
They're at most, they're probably this big.
That's big.
I've still seen pictures that say that's a lie.
That's with their legs out, like.
Oh, well, I mean.
Oh, so that's just the body. Oh, that's fine then.
That's the full. That's the full spread of them. Like they get to like their body is like a quarter of the size of a tarantula body. They just have longer legs. Like they're not that big, and they can't kill you. They're not actually venomous. So.
No, but they do hurt, don't they? If they bite you,
yeah. But it's the same as we do have a lot of kill. We have funnel web spiders, they'll kill you. Glaring octopus, they'll kill you. Taipan snake, they'll kill you real quick. But there's not that many of them.
I'll kill you real quick.
You guys also have the yucca yucca plant, don't you? Which is the plant that makes you commit suicide if you touch it.
What?
There's a plant that exists that has a defense mechanism where it's some kind of neurotoxin or nerve toxin. If you touch it, it causes you pain so severe you kill yourself rather than suffer. All right, no one should live in a place where a plant like that exists.
I've never heard of this.
I had no idea what that was, so I googled it. My parents have 3 of them in their front garden.
Why would you do that?
I've touched it many times. I've yet to commit suicide.
Well,
by tree. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Suicide by shrub.
And what's the name of this plant?
The yucca plant.
That's such a funny name.
Yucca. It's called a yucca plant. It's just a tree.
It's just a tree.
Is it a certain part of the tree then that you have to touch?
I don't think so. It's all fairly uniform. Like I've cut this bastard down before, and no.
And then danced on it.
Yeah, it's
I'm fairly sure per capita, Australia has the highest frequency of poisonous and deadly things.
We do
compared to anywhere else.
We do.
Of the top, I think it was the top 20 most venomous or poisonous animals. We have 17.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
But the likelihood of you ever encountering nearly any of these is more or less 0. Like funnel-web spiders, never seen one outside of a tank. Taipan snake, I have seen one of them. It chased me. They're aggressive. They are aggressive. They will chase. But like blue ring octopus, you never see that. All these sea snakes.
You're really selling it, Sean. I want to come and live there.
No one. Here we go. Time for some of Sean's weekly offensive comments. No one here is going to shoot me because we don't have.
Yeah, I'll give him that. I like that.
It's an argument I love having. But yeah, as far as animals, not very many people die from animal attacks here. It's more or less dogs, like people's untrained dogs that will kill you. The wild animals stay away. Like dingoes, I've never once seen a dingo in the wild. I'm not even sure they exist. I only saw this year my first emu in the wild. Like you don't see it. Kangaroos, yeah, you see them a fair bit. Koalas, I don't think I've ever seen one of them just in a tree. I don't know where these animals are. Like I've seen more pigs and deer than I have like the native species. So unless you go to Tasmania, of course, where they seem to be everywhere. There's lots of wildlife down there. But yeah, as for koalas, dingoes, cassowary, which is just the high rolling emu with some fancy.
What about the wallaby?
Well, you see wallabies, kangaroos.
Yeah.
I don't know why they define wallaby. It's just a small kangaroo. You're not going to see any of this stuff. Like I don't think I've seen a spider of any sort in my house in a year. I've never seen a snake in my house or near my house or.
See, in Britain, I don't tend to sit there and think, I've never seen these animals in my house. Is that unusual? No, because I'm in Britain.
My mother, when my mother and father had their first house, it was a little flat and it was sort of in the outskirts. They've come home to find a big red male kangaroo sitting or standing in their kitchen eating a loaf of bread. And yeah, that's not a joke because they will rip you to pieces. They will. Razor sharp claws and talons on their feet. They will jump and kick you and they will like disembowel you. So it's sort of like, yeah, have your bread, we'll come back later. And they've got no fear either. Like they're not afraid to make the first move. That's what have you all seen the video of the guy who was out hunting pigs and they've come up in the ute? A ute is like a 4-wheel drive, but with a flatbed. Don't know what you guys have in America.
Just call it a flatbed truck.
Monster trucks.
A truck, yes. A truck. They come around the corner and here's the guy's hunting dog and the kangaroo's holding it around its neck. So he runs up to it and he shapes up to it and then he lets go of the dog and the kangaroo's like they're bouncing and then he throws a right hook and smacks the kangaroo in the side of the head.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And then he runs away because it wasn't a good idea.
So, man, funny story about roos. I have a buddy that hunts them. Like that's his job, and he lives in Australia. And because they become like too much, like overpopulated. So like he gets hired.
Yeah.
Literally, like because I play like a simulating racing game with him, and he's a drifter as well as I am. So like him and I will be shooting, the shit, and he'll just be like, yeah, just shoot about 40 roos yesterday. I was like, what did you do? And he's like, yeah, I got hired to go. And he literally at nighttime has to go because I guess like daytime it's no bueno. Nighttime, like it's because something, I don't remember. He was trying to explain something with him, but he kills, like it's crazy. He has to hunt them. He's like, yeah, they're like rats.
Yep.
And I'm like,
they did the same thing with koalas as well. They
that's crazy.
The koala population just because they're just too much. They just breed, and before you know it, there was, as I said, I've never seen one, but they must have been more. They had more dense sort of clusters, and they were just like destroying the land, like all the trees, and they're
oh gosh,
running out of food
to the point where they'd probably end up starving because they don't leave an area. They sort of stay there, and if there's no food, they'll just die.
Yeah, aren't koalas really stupid? If you put eucalyptus leaves on a plate in front of them, they won't eat it. They have to take it off the tree, or it doesn't register as food.
Yeah, so they don't drink water. They get everything they need from those eucalyptus leaves. So if they're not on the tree, they don't get anything from them. They don't get the water from them. There was actually a photo went up when we had our big bushfires here of a firefighter
with the water and the koala.
They don't do that. Like you could not make a koala drink water. So this koala must have been pretty distressed to actually take that water. But yeah, they could climb up a 30-meter high tree. There's no food for the next, no food anywhere around them. And then 200 meters away, there's more good trees. No, they'll just stay there and die. They won't try and get to those trees. They'll just die.
So weird.
They're not incredibly clever.
But how did that evolve? If evolution is survival of the fittest, what? Why did the koala evolve? That makes no sense.
They didn't. They abided by a different law. Not survival of the fittest. Their evolution law.
Survival of the laziest.
Fuck it, I'll die. And yeah, they do. We got a lot of stupid animals. They're basically the equivalent of the Australian sloth. Like,
okay.
They will be the Australian sloth if they don't acknowledge anything. They just sort of sit there. They eat and then they sleep, like permanent hibernation. But yeah, they're the same thing. They got sharp claws too and teeth as well. Like they'd probably bite you if you threatened them.
They're so slow.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, as I said, Australia. We might have a lot of dangerous animals here, but the likelihood of that ever happening to you.
Thick fillet in the building. The best name ever. Jeez. Man. Well, with us, we got about another 18 minutes to go here.
I'll have to duck off in a second. I can hear my daughter awake upstairs. She's turns 1 soon, and I can hear her running around, and things seem to be falling over.
Yeah.
As long as it's not. She grabbed. I was on the floor assembling some spin flexes the other day, and she was sitting on the floor, and she came and over and sat and watched me do it. I was like, "Oh, right." She then picked one up when I turned my back like this, and went and smashed it on the other 5 that I was working on. So heads up to everyone. There'll be 6 B-grade spin flexes on the store once I've finished polishing them up again. This is why we order extras. It's why there's so many. I've still got 2 unopened boxes of 20 spin flexes plus these ones here for when I get to them. So no harm, no foul. But yeah, I wish you didn't do that.
Yeah,
I'm glad they were like unsold hilts that weren't part of my collection.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Not my collection itself, because that would have. What is that? It's wild that all koalas have chlamydia. Yes, they do. Yep, chlamydia originated from koalas.
What?
Yeah,
These facts I never would know, but here we go.
I'm more
Ask an
concerned about how the
installer,
species jump happened.
Dude, I love
Yeah,
it.
that's a controversial. There's
Hmm.
we don't talk about that. It's full price for you, Cole. No, Cole's good. He's been very supportive of all the runs I've done. I saw your question earlier, Cole. Yes, there is more Kylos. So we've done 100 on the initial run, which are the limited edition specials and masters, and then we're going to have another 100 coming, which are just going to be a standard sort of. So the ones that I called standard edition on the website will actually be limited and have their numbered plaques and whatnot. The ones after that will be like an unlimited run, just a standard edition, same saber as a base. The price is going to go up about $30. The factory definitely underquoted on the Kylo when they quoted us. And they actually wanted us to pay more on the first run. I'm like, well, no, I've already paid for them. I'm not paying you any more.
Yeah.
But they said, if you want more, they will cost an extra 30. And I'm like, all right. But it is what it is. They've done really well. Like, if the saber hadn't come out as good as it did, then I... who are you? What is your actual name?
We're not allowed to know. Him and Sir Peanut Butter, they're anonymous. Those are the two subscribers that we all have. Jesse, Zach, like all the lightsaber guys. These guys are the best, but they don't allow any of us to know. I don't get it.
So weird.
It's awesome, honestly, especially because we made them make an Instagram. So now,
He's going through his customer list.
Ask an Installer exposed video for thick fillet and soon to be Sir Peanut Butter. No, I'm just kidding.
Tim.
I'm everywhere. Oh.
Brian.
Go one by one.
Brent. It's not you. I want Sudo Satoshi.
Sean's like, I'll find you.
A special set of skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an issue I have a lot with customer orders, because one, their email doesn't match anything, their Facebook name doesn't match anything, and they'll send me a message on Facebook. It's like, can you tell me about this, or when's my order going to ship? And I'm like, righto, and I'll jump on the Shopify and just type their name in and bring it up. I'm like, who are you? And then they've got a completely different name. Like, I understand some people's need for their anonymous online presence. They don't want to use their real names and stuff. But I'm gonna start adding a thing in my cart that's do you have an online alias or something? Because sometimes it's just hard to find people. And I've got one guy who every time he orders, very reliable. He's actually like prevalent in the community, but every time he orders, he uses a different name. Yeah, and I'm like, I've got one guy who's got like 1,000 email addresses. Like, every time it's a different email. Like, we'll be having a conversation and I'll reply to his email, and then I'll get like a copy and paste of the email I've just sent to me in the start of an email from a different email address. It's like, what do you have, a dynamic email address? It's just confused. Some people just, I'm in that order sheet, I guarantee it, Mike W. Oh, well, there you go, Mike W.
Flipping pages. I'm gonna find this man.
This is where he reads out his address and all his personal details.
Right. Here's the credit card you used.
Yeah.
So, Carl, just to ask a last question, I have to. When it comes to etching, are you painting in between? Like when you're using paints, are you you're etching first and then you're filling in where you paint afterwards, right?
Yes.
Now, where you do all the woodwork, how does that come into play? Like,
this is why he likes enamel.
What do you mean? That's why I like enamel. The wood, by woodwork, I assume you mean like that wood grip, for example.
Well, the wood grip, yeah, stuff like that.
That is purely, I think it was 2 millimeter thick wood veneer. So it was. Oh. It's genuine wood. It's just incredibly thin for what wood is, and it's very brittle as well. So you have to soak it in water before you do anything with it, so that you can bend it without it snapping.
Okay.
And then
wow, I didn't know that.
Wrap it around the hilt, clamp it, leave it for 24 hours so it dries out, and it dries into the shape, so it will stay essentially around in that shape, and then you can just set it down with adhesive, and then the pearl inlays were done afterwards. So.
Oh wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, if you submerge wood, it becomes quite pliable to an extent where you can bend a plank 90 degrees without it breaking in half. Like it's actually how they make a lot of handcrafted house like builds and stuff like that. They'll water the planks and bend them, and that it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I definitely did not know that.
I'm a really big fan of hilts that have wood incorporated in them. They just look
me too.
High end.
Yeah, agree.
I'm working on a custom. I haven't done any like custom hilts that haven't been really like based on the universe. And I'm working on one at the moment, and I'm sort of trying to incorporate some sort of wooden part. I'm gonna have to find someone to make it for me, but it'd be really cool. Wood just screams like a classy saber.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the Augustine hilt because in the universe it was a wooden grip with all the greaves on it. It looks really nice.
Someone makes a really nice all wood gunji saber as well. It's like all hand carved and finished, and it. Really
I think I saw that one. Yeah.
I'd love to get a wooden hilt that's like engraved, like similar to your etching style, but engraved.
Yeah.
But that'd be just a ridiculous amount of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool though. There's some submerged wood joke. Jeez. I love Cole.
Just a notice, anyone, this has just been put out there, anyone who sees this email address pop up, don't send them any money. It's Jordan Eugene.
Oh.
You know.
Don't
Who's
know?
that? Yeah, who's that?
Jordan Eugene was a scammer from a few years back. Took off with heaps of people's money. Hilts, so many hilts. Like I think it was him with the finished props of V2 Kylo run. I know that he were weathered up, like 20 were weathered and sent to him so he could do the installs on them. Gone, vanished, and never got them back.
Oh my!
It's almost like anyone with the first name of Jordan should be avoided in this hobby, really.
Yeah, I've got another Jordan who owns. Have you ever heard of Sky Castle Customs? They did 3D printing. He's another Jordan scammer as well. Then you've got Jordan Mole.
Jordan Mole, yeah.
Yeah, it's Jordans. They're just
don't get into the hobby if you're named Jordan.
You're no good. There's still a lot of it going on. Like DX Sabers is still going.
That's crazy.
How?
They're
that irritates me on a
not
daily
only are they
basis.
still going, they're growing.
TikTok. He reaches out to all these big influencers, and they have no clue about the saber community. And then they go, "Oh, DX Sabers is the greatest." And these people that are clueless see the influencer and
But
go,
that's
"Oh,
not the case because Ray Parks knows exactly what he's like, and he's still recommending him.
But Ray Parks isn't the greatest guy to begin with.
Well, no, that's fine. But at the same time, if you're reaching out to big people and you're trying to tell them this guy's bad, then they're not listening to you. It's not going to help. It doesn't make one bit of difference.
I got a hold of Ray Parks, like close guy, like his fitness trainer or whatever, and he said he told him, and the guy and Ray Parks still doesn't care.
Are you paying Ray Parks to say he's bad? Because I guarantee DX is loading him up with free stuff.
Sure.
Same with that streamer who did the lightsaber ranking video. That video, what's her name? I sent her an email offering her.
Oh no! Don't do it!
I already know who it is.
Don't do it! Don't do it! I know.
I'll send her an email.
Yeah.
some advice.
Keep it anonymous, please. God.
But anyway, there it is. The video basically she goes through and she ranks the lightsaber manufacturers from best to worst. But she also starts off by saying, "I'm very new to the community and I basically have no idea." Okay. So he put KR at the top. Fair enough. All good, all fine. She then put most of the LGT ones right next to it. And then she went ahead and everything in between, like, it just didn't make any sense to me. The whole thing was just bad.
God tier.
Vader's Vault was down near Vader's Vault was like one from the bottom. And like, you know, I've got my own. I've always had my own opinions there, but they do make high end stuff, and they put it in the bottom. I was like, regardless of my relationship, they should be up at the top. Genesis Custom Sabers, I think, was also down at the bottom. Like, she's like, these are small. Facebook message. That's the one thing I hate about having grown within the community. Facebook messages, it's like getting through them. It's like I have to dedicate like an hour a day. I really understand what Cal meant now. I've had to tell people stop messaging my personal Facebook because I miss certain people, like who I'm friends with. But sometimes I lose messages, like it just gets lost. I'll come home from work. I work for in the prison system, so I don't have access to a phone or Facebook for 12 hours a day when I'm on shift. And I come home and it's like 150 notifications, 30 messages. I'm like, oh. Answering your there you go, there's the ranking. So if we go right to the end, what have we got? So on the top we've got Saber Trio. Yep, Saber Trio, KR, Corbanth. Yeah, I wouldn't put them at the top. But yeah, they still are reliable.
Still better than DX.
DX is in dumpster fire at the bottom.
That's right.
You've got God tier, pretty good, could be better, trash, dumpster fire. So we've got up in the God tier, she's put Saber Trio, KR, Corbanth, Crimson Dawn.
It's Ultra Sabers by another name.
Yeah, they're an LGT reseller, but you know, as far as LGT goes, like I've got a couple myself just for bashing around. They're not bad hilts. Their installs could be better. They could use better components. The profits are fine, but
much better.
The speakers particularly. But
I mean, even
mass produced and super cheap. They're all right. Dark. I think there's 7 actual LGT vendors, and then you've got resellers. So like Dark Wolf being like a named partner. You've got Oz Sabers in Australia. You've got Padawan Outpost. Padawan Outpost is up there in God tier. For service, for their customer service, 100%. But I don't know if the LGT Sabers belong in God tier ever. I'm not sure what she's basing this on. If it's as a whole, yeah, like Padawan, you know, they're probably one of the most reliable saber vendors there is. And then you got Dark Wolf, pretty good. And they're pretty good. Force FX, Vader's Vault, LGT, TXQ, the patch door. I don't even know what those other 2 logos are. Could be better. Galaxy's Edge, trash, Ultra Sabers, Saber something. Saber Masters, which I've never heard of, and Saber Forge. And credit to Saber Forge, they've gotten a lot better lately.
They've gotten a shit ton better.
The only thing is, though, is that stupid threaded blade. Like that.
Yeah, that's whack.
Crazy.
Yeah. I haven't had to deal with that yet, though, thankfully.
As far as shipping times go, and their in-store stuff. Now they're using the Golden Harvest. It's like they've caught up with the times now. So it's kind of like that. And down the bottom, you've got DX Sabers in Dumpster Fire. But yeah, I reached out to her because I put that post out where I've gathered the names of all the different vendors, and I'm compiling a list myself, and then I do a survey of the community on the opinions of those rather than just throwing names out. Because the issue being is someone like this streamer, she has the following, she has the reach. She says DX Sabers is good. To 10,000 people, suddenly DX Sabers is great, and they're going to rush to buy it. That's the problem. You get these influencers, and people just listen to them. They don't research. They go, "Oh, DX Sabers." They go straight to the top. They'll buy it, and that's the big issue. Like they don't even know there is a saber community just because someone has been given a free lightsaber to say that they're good. Which I suppose any of it could really do, but it's.
So how do you think you combat that then? I mean, I know Kale going on Rexing Around, like that helped, but I don't know how far his reach actually is to actually Rexing Around. Like I don't personally, I'm saying I don't know how big he is, so I don't know how far that reaches.
He's got a fair following, but is it in the right place? So you'll find like you'll get streamers like this, and then you're going to have followers that have nothing to do with lightsabers just go and buy them, and it just bolsters these people like Paul. It'll just bolster him. He's got money there. You won't stop him. Like you get the right person to shout you out, and you're set. Like I know of a smaller lightsaber guy. I won't say his name because it's a surprise. Adam Savage reached out and asked him for a lightsaber, and he's going to have it untested. So I'm like, well, that's a meal ticket,
right?
That's what I said. That's the same as when Cal had the thermal detonator on tested. Suddenly, wham! Cal's like, I don't have enough thermal detonators to do this. So it influencers. I hate influencers having the reach they do. And like Ray Park, if Ray Park says DX is the world, well, it is. And it's unfortunately just the way it works. There you go. That's also true that Cole just said. You want your high quality stuff, there's a wait involved. You want something now, LGT is what you do. It's like some people don't want to wait 6 months. It's what I'm trying to avoid now. Like my Obi-Wan hilt's already paid for and in production. Same for the Kylo, like they made the whole batch of them. So they're almost ready to go. Get rid of those pre-orders if I can. But some people want it now. And that's where you're going to have the vendors like LGT and like what Ultra Sabers was. You bought your Ultra Saber and you used to get it within like a week. Now you just never get it. I think Emery's Harris has sort of gone off the rails. I don't even think he's making lightsabers anymore. I think he's just selling receipts because he hasn't fulfilled an order in quite some time, but he still takes orders.
I saw a post recently on one of the pages that said they'd received their order, but where the one out of God knows how many.
And that's exactly right. You've got people. I've been having an argument for weeks and weeks with a guy on Instagram who's bolstering the hell out of DX Sabers, and he said, but they've done nothing wrong to me, so I'm going to support them and I'm going to advertise for them. I was like, okay, so I gave him a pretty bad example. I said, have you ever been subject to a terrorist attack? And he said, no. And I said, okay, does that make it all right? No. I said, let's consider, I only use a terrorist attack because that's what DX Sabers call all of us. He called us terrorists.
Yes, yeah.
I said to him, he say DX is a terrorist, or the thief, he's stealing money from these people. Are you saying it's fine for him to steal from them as long as he's not stealing from you, but you're getting free stuff? And then I sent him links to all the screenshots. He's, I've seen no evidence that he's done that. And I'm like, there's no help for you. There's no help for you. You're out. But he's gone from having no follow. He went from a new Instagram account to having like thousands of followers in weeks.
Yeah.
just by advertising. That's all he does. He just plugs everyone
over and over. Yeah.
And now I've seen him be a bit like bolstering up companies that shouldn't have it. It's like, yeah, it's just unfortunate.
It's like wildfire too. It just takes off. And I had a guy through Instagram that he was looking for an install. We talked a little bit. He was shocked by the price, which always happens. They always get shocked by the price, right? It's always sticker shock for a custom install. But he had talked about how he had bought from DX Sabers and he won't stop. And I was just kind of like, well, I don't know if I'm comfortable doing an install for you. I was like, if you support someone like that, like, I don't know if, because customers, it's got to be a relationship, right? Like, you got to click. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't really want to do business with that person, because who knows how that could go. And he did not take that well at all. It was like, you won't do business with me because I do business with DX Sabers. I was like, no, because think about all the people that got ripped off and you're supporting that. Why am I going to take on your business and have, like, no, just no.
Yeah. But
it's crazy.
I mean, this is going to sound possibly come off wrong, but I hope not. So people, I feel like, that buy things like DX or like a scammed website, are obviously people that aren't putting in the time for, trying to get some sort of education on this, or try to figure out like, hey, like, research is key when it comes to realistically any kind of hobby like this, especially if it's like this expensive of a hobby. Hence, for instance, that's how I started, was buying LGTs, because I didn't know if I was ready to dabble in $1,000 lightsaber yet. I was like, let me just buy something that's like $300, $300 to $400 to see if I'm even going to want to commit to this. Well, 8 sabers later, yeah, I'm into this, but like, I didn't want to just jump in, buy the $1,000 saber, then maybe it's just like a desk piece I don't give a crap about, So it's like, for me, I jumped into it, but I almost, instead of going to like Dark Wolf LGT for my first time, I almost went to someone like DX, because, for instance, I wasn't doing my research at first, and then something clicked. I was like, well, anytime I do anything car related, I joined like a Facebook group for that, so like I can interact, figure something out. Like if I got a new engine, it's like, all right, let's see what people's build threads are doing. Well, I did the same thing, and I am so thankful I did, because I joined Universal ULC, Universal Lightsaber Community, joined that, and literally like my first day looking, second day browsing, it was just nothing but stay away from. And I'm like, oh, what is this? I almost got something through them, clicked on it and like learned it. But the thing is, where I'm trying to get at is like, I'm not saying the people that buy them, nobody deserves to get scammed. That's a fact. Nobody does. Doesn't matter. But when you're spending this much money, you can tell the difference between the people that are, I guess, like on the influencer side or the TikTok side, because there was no research involved. There was just, this is what came up, or this is who messaged me to sponsor me. And, their first reaction is, I'm not looking up to see if this works. If it's something free, they're just going to go for it. It's free. I mean, at that point, they're just getting the product, and all they have to do is be like, here, look at it. Cool. There you go. Or on the other end, someone that's not an influencer, but they don't want to put in the research. That's the same shit they're doing. They're like, okay, in this video, it looks sick. If they don't even look up the YouTube video of it, they just, all right, that picture looks great. You're buying it. Dude, that's your own fault. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know that sounds mean, but dude, the internet's huge. It's everything. Everybody knows there's scams. Like, I mean, how many people, how many Nigerian princes have robbed single moms of 50 and over? You know what I'm saying? Like, this has been going on for years, everybody, so it's like, for me, it's like, if you're not going to put in that even 5 minutes of research, like, I'm not saying you deserve to get ripped off. That's not what I'm trying to say, but you got kind of what happens, it's like, it sucks, but it's how it is. That's how the internet works when you buy things. It's like, it's not like you're going to a store and you get to see your product right in front of your face. Like, this is pretty accurate. This is kind of worth $500-$600. No, man, you're just getting a picture. Like, and half the times, I mean, it's not even just Saber community. It could be anything. I mean, look how many Wish app things come on any kind of social media. You know how many people don't get their shit from Wish? A lot of people. So it's like, it's such a, I guess, like,
big.
It's a huge thing. Yeah. Or it's this big. Exactly. So it's like, my biggest thing, it goes with everything, not just lightsabers, but like, do your research. Like, if you're not willing to put in a little bit of time to make sure that the product you're getting, or it's something that, is decent, it's not like, because like, you can go on Google, type in DX Sabers, and they're probably like a 4.5 review. But once you click on that and actually like go to most recent reviews, probably the first 100 reviews is this place sucks. like, but that's not going to be the top review. It's going to be whatever the top 5-star review is right then and there. Like if you have to once again put in that research, you know, that's like somebody that just traveled back in time. They're like, yo, best burger I heard is McDonald's. Yeah, it was about 30 years ago, bud. You go there now, it's trash, you know? So it's like, you got to put in your research or you're going to end up possibly getting something you don't want. And I think that goes for anything in the world, but I feel like it really, 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 really means something in this lightsaber community because it's small. It's very small. It doesn't matter how big we think it is. It doesn't matter if somebody's video gets 5 million views. It doesn't mean 5 million people are in custom lightsabers. It just means that video got 5 million views. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's right. But if you think of it like this, 5 million, if 0.1% of those people follow through and buy it,
yeah,
that's a lot.
Oh no, for sure. I agree with that.
Right.
No, it is.
Did you guys see the prices for that Star Wars Galactic Tours?
I seen that today. That's kind of ridiculous. But I wonder if it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem with that though is that people like to ask first and research never.
Yeah.
That's kind of the issue, right? Is they just want to see the shiny thing and go, "Oh, I want that," and not actually look into like, well, who made it? Why'd they make it? What they make it with? Do they have a good reputation? Will they follow through and actually, you know, give me what I paid for? That's I don't know. You got to research first, then ask questions after, not the other way around.
But then you've got to remember that, you know, there are new companies and they don't have any history. I mean, look at me.
Very true.
I literally sold a saber, and then I had a year full of customers. And they had nothing to base that on. They just went purely on trust. Thankfully for them, I'm not a dick.
Exactly.
So, but again, that's what we talked about, the customer relationship, right? Like they get that vibe from you. They talk with you a little bit, and then they understand who you are as a person and go, all right, this guy is legitimate. He might not be, have 10 years in the hobby or whatever, but he's not a complete POS, and he's going to give me what I'm looking for. You know, that's to be said even with me. Like the one that I posted the other day, what was it? The KRLO. That was my first customer, and that's now his third install. And he had never followed through, I would have never even gotten the list to where it is today. There's no way. Yeah. So you need that one person, but you also you have to be legitimate. You have to know what you're talking about, and you have to not be a total BOS. Like you have to be able to talk to people. And that's kind of me and Cody talked about this. I let my wife take over the business page talking to people because it's not that I'm rude. It's just when I think I'm just being straightforward, it can be read as rude.
Comes across as blunt.
You know what I mean? It's blunt.
I'm
blunt.
bowing out of this topic.
Dude, I love Sean.
A lot of what I say, it comes across. And most of the time, it's not intended that way. It's just how I talk. Right. Aussies, we're direct to the point. There's no screwing around. If I think it's shit, I'm going to tell you it's shit.
I particularly like the ones where you tell them they're wrong. Like you scroll through your lightsaber news feeds, and there's something like, "Oh, this, and this." Sean's underneath. I know it's fucking dark.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah, well, I feel I talk in person too. Like I've had my old boss come up to me and say something like, tell me how to do something. And I just go, "You're wrong," and then I've got to then correct them. But yeah, no. Here in Australia, it's more common than not. It's to the point I think it sucks. I'm going to tell you it sucks. I'm not going to tell you I think it's good when it isn't. I'm not going to, if I think it's a bad idea. One of my pet hates is the way of the world at the moment. Give every kid a ribbon sort of mentality. People post up their things they make themselves. Yes, it's a great effort. Does it look good? No, it doesn't. I've seen some horrific work, and I read the comments, and everyone's saying how incredible it looks. And then you get the people, you should sell them, and it's like, no, you shouldn't. I said, yes, you've made it yourself. That's awesome. Good on you. But I'm not all for going, giving everyone a clap and a handshake and a ribbon. Just
Yeah,
to
deserve
show.
it.
participation like
Because
certificate.
it's like I've seen some terrible etches, really awful, and people go, "Oh, that looks awesome." It's like it really doesn't.
yeah, I've done
And,
that.
and that's where I come across as rude, because I seem to sometimes I just leave it there. I say, "No, it looks bad," and rather than be constructive. And a couple of people have pulled me up. Actually, most people have pulled me up on it. Anyone who's reputable has probably pulled me up on it before. Sent me a message and said, "You need to tone it down," which I have tried to do. I've tried to be a little bit less vocal lately.
It's
because
tough.
sometimes I get carried
I'll just
away.
quickly nip onto Facebook and check
So
that.
do you have where you'll be typing out a comment and you go, "Wait a minute, I probably just should not even bother."
the filter.
Dude, it's like three times a day for me. I'll be typing something out and I'm like, "No, this person's going to take it the wrong way." And I just delete it right off.
I don't do that. I go, "Yeah, this is what they need to hear."
Sean knows best.
This is the truth. And I come across as rude. It's not what I'm intending to be, and it's the same with the comment on that lightsaber review video. I'll read my comment. It was, "You're not really qualified to make the judgment on lightsaber makers. You're actually promoting poor business and hurting good ones." I thought that was perfectly reasonable, but apparently me saying she's not qualified is out of line.
No.
She's entitled to her opinion. Like, none of these people who replied have any idea what they're talking about either. They're all so wrong. It's just what it is. It's just I don't tell NASA how to build its rockets.
That's what I was going to say. I wouldn't go on to an installer's forum and tell them how to do their jobs. I don't expect them to come on to mine and tell me how to do mine.
I don't come on and tell you that you're etching things wrong, because I don't know. Because while I've had a go at it, it's not what I do. I don't know it. I don't tell I do a little bit of installing, but it's why you don't see me giving install advice to anyone, because I know how to do it. Would I be comfortable teaching someone? Probably not. I'll comment on hilts and hilt design any day of the week, because that's what I know. That's what I do. But yeah, it's randoms coming in and doing that, and it's people posting up stuff and people like sort of knuckling under bad habits or poor work. Someone does like bad work, and then people go, "Oh, that looks really good," because it sort of it sets a bar for some people. Like, they go, "Oh, right, there was a guy who put up recently, he's going to start doing installs."
Dude, that has been constant. So I'm not going to call this guy out at all, but it's someone that's actually been in my DMs on my page.
Is it the one who's working under another master or something?
No, it's somebody else who straight up started a company but's never done an install in their entire life.
Yeah.
No, it's like, dude, just do like 20 hilts. Do 20 hilts. Take pictures of it. Get good at it.
Not
then
the
you
outside.
can start taking people's work.
Don't take pictures of the outside. I've installed the hilt.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, here's my install. Isn't it amazing?
Just because it works doesn't mean it won't explode tomorrow.
I want to see this. I want to see
the solder board, wire management.
All of it, the whole lot. It's like a computer. You can go buy yourself a computer. Well, you might not care. I care what's on the inside of it. Like, I care what it looks like. Same thing, cable management, tidiness, not burning my friggin' house down, because it might work for a while and then it burns my house down. If I bought an install saber and it burns my house down, I guarantee you I'm getting on a plane.
Well, it's even knowing what components to use, right? Like, you need protected batteries. Like, there's so much to it that and that's the thing with people jumping on and saying, "I'm going to install now." It's like, you haven't done your proper research yet. If you're still on there and you're on the groups asking the most basic questions, you're not ready to take on somebody's install.
Yeah. So how do I write? I'm doing an install for someone. How do I wire a recharge port? It's like.
Can I just say, the first time I wired a recharge port, I wired the negative and the positive back to front, and my saber caught on fire. So that was a CFX down the drain.
Was it for yourself?
It was, yes, yeah.
That's it.
That's different.
It's different. You're not offering it as a service. And like there was one just last week who I just sort of let loose on a Facebook thing. He says, I'm working under another master who's teaching me the ways of this, rah, 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 of how to do installs. And I'm like, he's like, and I'll be taking commissions for this and weathering and rah, rah. And I'm like, right, who is this master you're learning from? So first I went for him. I said, sorry. And I said, where's your proof of all your work? And he's like, I haven't actually finished my first install yet. And I just started smashing myself in the head with the spin flicks. And then he said, but I'm learning from one of the best. Rah, rah, he's a master. I was like, this guy's 12 years old. And I said, right, who's this guy? And he sent me a link to the page. And this installer's got like 30 likes. And he's done like 7 hilts. And he's never posted a photo of any of the work.
It's all outside shots.
All outside shots. And like, I can put a torch in a hilt and put a blade on the end, make it look good. You know, and I'm like, who are you learning off? And then when we said you should probably get some experience first, and he said he went and had a tantrum, and he commented, he's like, I guess I'll just give up now on my dream, and you won't be hearing from me again. And I'm just like, see ya, bye.
Get some thicker skin.
Yeah, I got no sympathy for you. Like, I don't get what you were trying to achieve, and you post stuff like that in the groups and you're going to cop it. Like, there's too many scammers. There's been too many occasions where people have done this. And it's the same thing when I made a post a month ago, 2 months ago, saying I was having a short break. I just had a couple of things going on I had to sort out, and just I only had like 3 days off in the end. Got sorted it out, but I had a couple of things going on I had to arrange, and just replying to emails and stuff is going to be a bit delayed. And yeah, same sort of thing. That's what Carl commented on there. He says this is how it starts with people. You know, they put out a post like this and then disappear. Not the case, obviously, with me, but he's right. It does happen.
Right.
There was a lot of concern with the dark side V2s, with Kaiser and what was happening there, because no one had heard. It's why, like, even if I've got stuff going on, those in my inner circle know enough, like, know details of like my personal life, but there's enough information out there that it was wild how much unsolicited advice you got from that. Yes, it was lots and lots. And that's it. It wasn't an overly complicated thing either. I just needed a couple of days or a week or something just to sort it out without the distraction of
catch up.
But it's right. A lot of people it's happened to where they've gotten in sort of too much and then vanish and they don't communicate, which is why like I've got an inner circle who do know details of my personal life. I talk to them on a daily basis. They know enough that they're able to chip in as well and make comment on anything as well. Like I'll always reply. It's not hard. I don't get why people don't reply to messages for months on end. Yeah. It's like fair enough if you miss a message here and there. I've missed messages,
which is easy enough to do. Yeah, it really is.
Especially with the business page, it can get knocked down pretty far down there by accident.
Facebook's business manager sucks.
Yeah.
It does. It's terrible.
Yeah, I prefer email. I prefer people to email me because I can see it's there. There's an easy stream to follow. But see, like I scrolled through there trying to find someone. I've seen there's a message from months ago that I've missed of a guy asking a question about his health, and I'm like, oh, well, you've obviously got it now, but there you go. But it's when people don't reply to everyone, when they just go cold.
Yeah.
You know, if you do have an issue, like I disagree with what Cal says. I reckon you should post. I should make a post to say I've got something going on. Most people are understanding. If that's all it is, be honest. That's what I did. If it's gonna become a bigger problem, then yeah, you might be in a bit of trouble. But you know, no one's going to shoot you for just a bit of communication. There's no need to go radio silence, because then you get people start wondering, and before you got 10 posts through the groups,
and they're worried. Yep.
And you're trashed. Like,
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. That call out group, for example.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't really like the group as it is. It's a bit censored, but it has the potential to do a lot of damage.
That was
like Jeremy with old mate and Jeremy.
Yeah.
You know, the guy was absolutely full of crap, but
and is a known scammer, it turns out.
Yeah, but I'm sure there were people who saw his original post, and that was it. They're done with Jeremy. They would never deal with him. All it takes. I'm sure I've got customers like that too who've had some small dissatisfaction somewhere, who've said something to someone else, and now that someone else will never look at you twice. You know, over that's the single-sided opinion of these Facebook posts. Unless you're posting evidence, like solid evidence, and not small stuff, I don't think that group should even exist. It's sort of and with the way it's sort of censored, because there's some immunity in groups like that. Like it's same with all Facebook groups. You've got Vader's Vault who run the Vault. You've got Saber Forge who run custom sabers,
custom lightsabers, something.
Lightsabers. Yeah, you've got certain people running certain groups, and they're censored. You know, you can't have an honest opinion about them in their group, which is like one of the reasons I'm banned from the Vault. I've been perma-banned from the Vault. I can't ever be back in there. So, just because I've voiced some opinions. Free speech is only free speech until someone gets upset.
Yeah.
And that's where I come off as rude, because I'm not afraid to upset someone if I feel that it's the truth.
And that's the issue I had with the call group is I've done my own and I've been on there myself on both ends of it, right? And when I've posted before, whenever I had a post in my favor, it got deleted. And it was like, well, how is that a call out group then?
Because the admin of the group have said we haven't passed judgment yet. I'm like, who are you? Like God? I said, shouldn't this be a free forum? Like for everyone to voice their opinion, not for the admins to go, right, we have come to a decision. Jeremy Solo Sabers, you are charged and guilty.
And it's like, I didn't think that's what it was for. It was supposed to be you just post the stuff and people can look at it and read it, and that's it.
Yeah, read an opinion. It's just a review page, but they're like passing judgment. They said Jeremy was guilty, and turns out he wasn't. So yeah, it's a bit of a. Someone said to me I had a call with someone last night and said, "Oh, I'm thinking of going and posting it on the call out page." I'm like,
why?
So he's having issues with someone else in the community who is very prevalent on the call out page. Even I've posted about him in his giveaways. He's having trouble with him. And he goes, I'm just going to make a post on the call out. I'm like, what are you holding back for? Just do it. I said, it's not going to do anything. He doesn't care. No one else cares.
No, he's still going. It doesn't matter.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just an immunity. There's certain people who are immune to backlash. That's why I don't like the call out groups. I think everyone should just have a thing. Same as reviews on Facebook. You can delete reviews off your page on Facebook. You shouldn't be able to do that unless you can prove it's like malicious.
Right.
But if it's an honor, if you do bad work and someone says it's bad, yeah.
The only thing that's hard with that is I've had someone go on my page and like say, "Oh, this font is trash," but like directly on the business page.
That's what I'm saying. If it's malicious, you should be able to appeal it.
Right.
I'd say Facebook's appeal process is terrible anyway. Like it's
right.
Their review process doesn't work. It's all done by a computer.
Yeah, algorithms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you can't even like I've been on bans and stuff, and I had a 7-day ban not long ago.
Facebook jail.
Yeah, Facebook jail. Yeah, I got a friend who's on a month ban. It's just stupid. Yeah, they go too far with it. Censorship. I'm forever getting kicked out of stuff groups. You haven't lived until you stepped in one of the Facebook groups. What are you getting kicked out of groups for? I doubt you're as rude as me.
I doubt you're as rude as me.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it.
It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be rudeness. It's more just my opinion.
Well, we are at our 3-hour mark, but before I wanted to get off, obviously I have 2 requests, if that's okay. One, I'd like to get a saber pick with you guys. Haven't had one of those since our first episode. Do you guys
we
have
forgot last time.
a saber with a blade in it that we can do that?
I can go and get one.
Okay, good. All right, sick. Dude with the fresh cut. Jeez.
Man, I'm counting the days until I get that Spin Flex. I was so upset to see it was in LA on Monday, and they're like, "Yeah, it's arriving on time," and I was like, hoping. I was just hoping. USPS sucks.
They've all moved really quick.
Did you send it with the carbon fiber rods, or are those a separate shipment?
No, they were separate. They true difficult to ship because there's a limit.
Right, a certain weight limit. But my buddy Daniel got his, and I was like, dude, send me pics of it. So he was in my private chat, send me pics. Because he got his like really fast.
Yeah, they shipped out really, really quick. Where's the one?
Hi, Cody.
Hi.
How you feeling?
I'm chilling. Trying to turn this damn saber on. Oh, there.
I am the Inquisitor, Ezra Bridger. Never.
The Force is with you, young.
Well then.
What is it? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Are you a Jedi? I am.
Oh, I love that font. That
Same.
font is so great. Is that second sister?
Huh?
Is that second sister?
I made it. Sorry, I leave all my batteries out of mine for safety.
I'm lazy. I just flipped the kill switch.
Ooh. What hilt? What hilt is that?
That's my Starkiller
Oh, nice.
with the Proplicator sheath on it.
Oh, nice.
Darth Vader.
There's the metal.
Harley Davidson defined the motorcycle.
Sean, are you installing yours? Is that what you're doing?
Hello again.
Oh, Portal.
Oh, yeah, dude, this one's
The
great.
Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible. Fantastic.
I don't have it in
Oh, he's turned into an alien again.
Alright, turn into an alien again.
Still an alien?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a I don't have a spare charged button top battery, so I just had to scrunch up some aluminum foil and put it between the battery and the terminal to get the extra length.
Jeez.
Didn't he mention not burning his house down earlier? I'm sure he
Yeah.
Right. If it's by himself, he doesn't care. But if it's by somebody else, he's getting on a plane.
Father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
I've never installed my own sabers with a protective battery, ever. Yeah, not once.
I thought the phrase was practice what you preach, not.
Yeah, right.
I don't
Obi-Wan
do
Kenobi.
my batteries.
Yeah.
What's your favorite font?
Favorite what?
I would give my
Come
life
on.
to protect the child. But it will
Probably either of K-Sys Kylo fonts. I love them. Like, they're fantastic.
Okay.
Darth Vader.
Awesome. Everybody's lined up. Oh my gosh.
The only reason I bought it, the rest of it was a gimmick, but I was like, I feel so bad.
Hold on. My girlfriend just got back from the store and she bought herself her first lightsaber. Here.
Oh, nice.
It's just
It's a joke. But hold on. It's no show. Here, put it in.
It's a mag light, isn't it? It's like-
No, dude. They now are selling like makeup palette brushes, but they light up.
Oh, cool.
It's Vader's.
The DB3, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I've got a Star Wars toothbrushes.
Oh heck yeah.
Toothbrushes, yeah.
Stop using children's toothbrushes.
Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. Why was there a flash on phone? All right, boys. Thank you guys so much. We haven't had one of those in a
Sean,
while.
why don't you put like your Kylo on the other end of the blade and just hold your other hilt out of sight of the blade?
There you go.
Excellent.
Just hold it out of frame.
Ta-da!
Oh my gosh! All right, one more.
Harley Davidson defined the verse.
Hello, imbecile. Cake will be served.
Awesome. You guys are too cool.
Oh god.
What?
Too heavy?
It's a lightsaber piano wire.
Sounds like Alien.
I don't mind them. You can't call them high end, but
Dude, he sounds like oh my gosh, he sounds like somebody from New Hope. Like one of like the X-Wing pilots.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like with your muffle, like you're Red Squadron leader right now for sure.
what's he say?
He's looking up a red leader quote.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I copy gold leader. That's all he says. That's his only line.
Nah, God, nah. See, I don't know what I sound like on the other end, so I don't know if I can do it. Jeremy can stick to the voice acting. It's all good. Sean with the Dalek audio. Yeah, I should have got the modulator out. Mm.
It just sounds so strange.
It does.
Back to what saying about fonts, I've just remembered I'm gonna get that pack, the legacy pack. Is it the Repulse? The Repulse who've done it? The one that comes, you know how the one that came on with the N64 cartridge?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does a discount if you buy like the entire fun package, like all of them.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was thinking of getting them. They all seem pretty good.
You got to check out Brian Connor over in the Profio Esker if you get a chance. His Portal sound font. I just had that one. Dude, that thing is incredible. The blade style. He even made it. It made the aperture symbol for the config. So he even wrote out the code so it looks like the aperture symbol. It's pretty cool.
very cool.
Some of what those guys do with their profit coding is.
Oh, it's wild. It's wild.
I've only just really started getting into blade styles and stuff like that. It's I've only got the only installed saber I have is this, and my Phoenix Props V1, which I only got recently from Saber Project Shop, and it's got like a crystal shard in it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I've got 30 boards coming. But will I ever actually get to installing? I've got that many hilts I'd like to install, but time, it's all time. And I think I've got just all the components. I think I've got every component other than batteries there. And the chassis from them all. And I just don't get to it. Too busy. Saber runs do suck up a fair bit of your time.
Yeah.
Especially with something like Kylo's, because they've got to be all be weathered. Not many people actually went with the raw option. Either myself, Weston, or Dino from Sanitised. Pretty much the whole lot are
Fully weathered.
fully weathered. So yeah, it's I don't know. People saying, "Can you install it?" I'm like, no. Just too long. It's if you're doing the run and then trying to install, it's too much work for one person. And I've got several runs on the go at once. With this run, we've got the Light V2, which I haven't announced. The OB1 and then the OB1 stunt. They share a lot of parts, so they're getting made at the same time.
Oh, sweet.
I might even just offer the stunt upgrade parts, because it's going to be the Obi-Wan Hero is going to be very similar to Foster's Spin Flex. I might just offer the stunt parts as an add-on for like an extra $20 or something like that for people who want them. And then I'm doing Mara Jade. Mara Jade hilt with Sam from Shadowfoil.
You're talking her dark side, right?
Yeah,
The Emperor's Hand one, whatever it's called.
Yeah, that one. So do one of them. It's a small one, very slim, because all the ones that have been done so far are like pretty.
Oh yeah, they're like that.
Yeah, like real chunky. Yeah, human cyborg relations.
Oh God.
He's gonna go put a helmet on, isn't he?
He's going to do the green screen again. Hide his and put the C-3PO.
Oh my gosh. This is a. Just look at him.
Nobody can, Cole.
Yeah.
Just the commitment.
Dude. All right, so Sean's now going to be our third co-host.
It's like a dead-eyed C-3PO, though. It's just skin.
Dude, I love this. Oh! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, Mara Jade. And then I've got the Darth Sidious Hill in production as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm just still not satisfied with any of them out there.
Almost as creepy as he's Yoda mask. That thing's hilarious. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yes. Dude, it was so funny with the green screen earlier. Oh my god. Oh.
So I'm doing a Sidious Hill. Not sure if it's going to be installable or just static. But if it's a static, I'm probably aiming for like the 150 price range for it. Like, yeah. We'll see how we go. It's not a fun hill to draw.
Are you still going for the clan sabers, or are you kiboshing that for now?
I put a hold on it just because there's just so many of them. Carol's doing them again. Corban's got them.
Yes.
LGT's doing them. Like I bought these backlash.
Oh, wow.
So those are master replicas, prototype hilts that never went to production. So they're
I'm after that one.
completely solid. Like all the master replicas. So yeah, these are the actual prototypes that they yeah, there's that.
Yeah, look at that.
So yeah, these came up for sale on Facebook a little while ago. So yeah, I don't know how I managed to get hold of them, but I had to have them. So yeah, they're pretty cool to have. No, the button's gone off that one. But yeah, no, pretty awesome. But because there's so many other people doing runs of clans at the moment, yeah, I don't want to do the same thing as everyone else is at the same time.
Right.
You know, everyone just ends up with a heap of leftover hilts, and you know, well, it's good to have some leftover stock. But you don't want like 80 of them.
No.
Yeah.
So,
The only reason I ask is I want that Obi Arena again. I know One Replicas did one way back.
that's the same as Obi Arena there. I believe.
There's a couple details that are a little different, but
Yeah,
pretty much the same thing.
Most of them are the same hilts. There's only like 4 different ones. They just have different greaves or different colours, or they've swapped positionings on some parts. But really, you build like this hill, for example, you've got like 3 or 4 different ones just by having that part there polished or not. Different
Right.
greaves. But no one's done the Kit Fisto right yet. The Kit Fisto actually has
Greeblies and all that, and the black.
That does look really sick.
So we'll see what happens. I've got the models here anyway, and they've all been quoted up. I might get a prototype done, but yeah, for now anyway, it's I've got many others sort of lined up. I really want to get to a custom design, something a bit different, but I'm not sure which direction. It's hard to stop yourself from going too silly. Like I drew up a hill as like a black mamba separate floating parts, and
That'd be cool.
Right.
yeah, but you got to work out the cost too, like expensive. And it's a practical. Will people want it?
Yeah.
No, we'll see what happens with them. I've got some people asking me to do an Anakin hero build as well. We got the 7 chambers one. I had a couple of people message me and ask if I'm going to do one. And I'm like, I probably don't need to. But some people want an aluminium one, like the Spin Flex, so the same finish as that.
Right.
That I can fly, and it's a lot lighter. Like this weighs nothing. I think the two, like just this upper, like from there to there, on the Kylo weighs more than this with a blade. The blade's like 100 grams. I have a feeling my phone's I think my phone's heavier than the Spin Flex is.
Huh.
200 grams. Your phone is heavier. The Spin Flex doesn't actually weigh anything.
That's crazy.
It's super easy to swing and spin. And, that's sort of the point. I want to do those. I've done the Anakin's done. I might do the Anakin hero. I've been doing up a window. I'd like to do a window as well, because there's no actual accurate window. The 89 one's close, but it's based on master replicas, which isn't accurate. And I was thinking of doing a Yoda, but there's plenty of Yodas just come out now.
Too many right now.
Yeah, I ended up buying the set off Randy called Nth. I wanted the
Praco.
Yeah, I wanted that. And I've only got the old K3, so I thought it'd be time to upgrade that and I'll move on the Y3. And do that. But other than that, that's basically what I'm working on. I've got 200 metal stands, full and auto style stands already in production now with incorporated LEDs in them. Similar sort of thing to what Saber Trio did, but a little bit bigger. It has LED ring in the base and LEDs in the holders, plus adjustable holders. Pretty keen to get the prototype for that. And I'm working on a vertical one as well in a similar sort of style.
Oh, man. Well, we are a little over our 3 hour, but it is all good. Sadly, your boy is hungry. I am starving. So I need to go make some dinner here for the fam and I. But you guys are a lot.
You guys are rock stars.
Not even rock stars. Like etching, as far as Carl goes, I'm not trying to make a scale out here, but definitely the best tier scale, like as far as etching goes. I'm not qualified. So I'm a really big fan of your work. So thank you so much for coming. And same with you, Sean. Your hilts are amazing, man. Like,
yeah, truly, both of you.
Like beautiful hilts, and
we're both here. I have spoken to Carl too about maybe whipping up something.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's a little sneaky, maybe. We'll see if that happens. We'll see what happens there. But it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool for Carl to have his own sort of hilt there as well.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really sick.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
It would be very exciting. Yes.
It would be very exciting.
You know I'd be in. Because I have an addiction and I can't help it. So.
Yeah,
I think that's why we're all here, isn't it?
Yep. Straight up.
I'm sure I am an addict.
Yeah. But again, we appreciate you guys. Like, again, you guys' work is incredible.
You back?
Yeah, if you ever want to come back,
we'll we're gonna plan on eventually, once we get through like a couple like major topics coming up with our next guest, we want to start trying to pull guests from different like episode type of things,
different areas of expertise,
kind of just bring everybody together that way as well. I feel like that'd be a little cooler instead of it just being, usually like one or two subjects. We can kind of just have like a free for all, like font makers, etchers, builders, everything. Like we're all in this together because we all love the same stupid glow sticks. So how I look at it is that we'd really appreciate you guys having, coming back, and I hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah, man.
No worries, man. Yeah, it's good.
Definitely. And before we get off, you guys could just try to, just say where everybody can find you, either, website, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. And I'll start with Matt, and then we'll go to Carl and Sean.
I'll go quick. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I don't know all the places. There's a link tree that you can go. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
You'll find me on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't use the Twitter all that much because I've never really understood the character limit, but that's just me. Sean?
Okay.
Yeah, you'll find me spsabers.com. But yeah, if you want to purchase otherwise just SP Sabers Crops and Collectibles on Facebook. And I'm trying to build up a bit of an Instagram as well, but yeah, mainly Facebook. Post all my big updates on there. Any questions, message me anytime, I'll get back to you.
Well, thank you very much for that, man. And once again, I'm New Type Sith. I'm just your typical lightsaber reviewer guy that likes to hang out with really cool lightsaber people. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you guys next time on Ask an Installer. Thank you, everyone.